Hello and welcome to my latest live broadcast. My name is Kerry Holzman.
And I'm Mitch Morrison.
I can vouch for that.
Concur, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, let's try to find the word.
Yeah.
It's live.
Yeah.
One take, unedited,
Yeah.
as we do.
And I must admit, Chad, it's a bad hair day today. I woke up and with a little bedhead going. I didn't know what to do.
Going with the Timothy Burton look.
Yeah, and I was running a little late, so.
I had
There
most
you
of
go.
mine cut off the other day, so
Okay.
it makes it a lot easier for me.
Hair Club for Men. Okay.
I highly
But you're-
recommend
yeah, But you're not the president. Okay.
I like the company so much. Wait, that's a different company.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing today, Mitch? What's happening? What's today? Today's the 7th of January, 2022. This is Friday. Friday is always
Bill Day. And we're going with more RGB.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got some motherboards here that either I'll sell cheaply or give away to my most generous contributors, and I don't want to put a lot of money into them. So I was looking for some cheap cases, given the Corsair $200 have been so hard to find, and I thought I'd try a little one of each of some stuff I found at Newegg under the $50 price point and lower.
Okay.
So I knew these weren't going to be very well made. They're often, hot dog cases, in the sense that the hot dog can be delicious, but if you find out how it's made, you may not ever want to eat one again. And this case did arrive with some damage. This kind of reminds me of the robot's foot build with the 3 RGB stripes there, but it's done in such a cheap way. It appears in the breakdown of this, and I haven't taken it apart, but Newegg has some pictures of it. Looks like there's an LED strip mounted behind it, and it's right in line with the center piece. So I guess it bleeds off the LEDs to each side of it. So I would guess it's going to be brighter in the middle and dimmer on the edge. I don't know, but it's cheap.
We shall see.
And it arrived with a little bit of damage, which we'll cover here in a minute. But first, a shout out and a thank you for our generous contributors who have already kicked us off with some contributions, starting with Robert Malovich with $5. And he says, here's to another great show. Thank you, Robert. And Peter Laycock contributes 50 pounds, also sent a few bucks via PayPal a few minutes ago. So Peter,
Nice.
Good to see you, my friend. Peter says, good evening, Kerry, Mitch, and everyone in the chat from Edinburgh in Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's a bit brisk, yeah. That's a little chilly.
What did I do with my phone? I was going to check the temperature here.
Ah.
Where are we at today?
Well, let's see. I'm guessing.
Yeah, my phone's in my pocket.
Oh, I'm guessing 54.
All right, let's see what it says. The temperature, according to my phone, it's 66. You're way off.
Ah, that must have been yesterday. You're sure? You okay?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. 66, and it's still warming up.
Beautiful today.
So, let me put this on Do Not Disturb so we don't get any more distractions than we already get. So thank you, Peter, and thank you to Robert. Thanks, you guys, for helping to support this channel. So what I wanted to do, one more here. Stephen Culver with $10 says, happy Friday. Good to see you again. Just about to purchase a Ryzen 7 3700G for my son's computer. Nice choice. Thank you, Stephen. Make sure Stephen is blue. There he is. Florida, they say it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, this is a perfect time to be in Florida. January, February, you don't have the humidity and the mosquitoes.
Yep.
All right, so what I wanted to do was buy, the bottom line is if I can buy parts very inexpensively, then I can give away more of these computers, right? So we have a 512 gig Team T-Force Carter Zero NVMe drive, which is it's not a slouch, but it's certainly not a fast, it's not a rocket ship, but it's going to be plenty fast for a system that's built like this. I was looking for some cheaper power supplies, Mitch, and sometimes EVGA has these great prices, but not so much right now on 500 watts. So this company called Aries Game has these power supplies for $27.99, if you can believe that, over at Amazon. And the links for all of these parts, by the way, are in the video notes. Now, if you use my links to make a purchase, I do make a small commission. Unless you're buying from Newegg, I do not have an affiliate arrangement with Newegg. So anything you buy from Newegg, I don't make any money on at all. So my preference is always to put Amazon links. And I'm going to tell you about this a little bit, about why I'm mentioning this, because there's 2 links for the RAM.
Okay.
The reason for that is I must have bought the RAM from Newegg. My general rule is I don't want to install any less than 16 gigs of RAM. Even though it's a budget system, I feel like 16 is the minimum. And for 16 gigs of RAM, I figure it should be about $50. So I saw this RAM here, this Guile Orion, and I think it was on sale for $50. I think right now at Newegg it's about $52.99, and I like that it's got heat sinks on it.
Okay.
Now it says it's for Ryzen, but of course it'll work on Intel as well. And I put a link to Amazon, but the link to Amazon is for a 3600 speed. I think that's 3000 speed.
And this is 3000.
Yeah, so the Amazon price is like $75 if you wanted the faster RAM.
2 8-gig sticks.
So that's why there's a link to Amazon where I make a commission, and a link to Newegg where that is actually where the product is, with that same sticks of RAM, where I don't make a commission. And then the board, we had prepped this board a few shows back. This is an MSI Mag B365M mortar. It's a $70 motherboard. They're sold out, as are most of the 9th gen boards. Likely not going to see any more 9th gen boards. I'm sure the manufacturers aren't making them anymore, as 10th, 11th, and 12th gen are now the norm. So they're just phasing out what they have. Now that board has a Core i7 8700 processor that was returned. And yeah, the 8700, not the 8700K. And I think, you know, this case is a bit shallow. I don't think putting a Mugen 5 on it is appropriate for this build because it's so over the top. But I do have these. Cooler Master has these. What are they called? i71C. And I'm going to try that. I think an 8700 will run just fine with that. We'll run Prime 95 on it to be sure, but it's RGB, and I think it's going to go well with the RGB in the case. Now the case, as I mentioned, it's got this RGB front. It also has RGB on the rear fan, and then there are 2 top fans that are also RGB. I don't know if they're proprietary design or how they hook up, but we're about to find that out. We sort of had the motherboard prepped in the sense that we've installed the CPU and the NVMe drive already. I must have had some RAM in it and took the RAM out for something else, but I'm sure when I did this on camera and updated the BIOS, and you know, who knows if there's another BIOS since then, but it's a good board, and I was really impressed with how well the board was designed given its price point. You know, the fact that it's got the I/O cover and the matching heatsink here on the I think that's a chipset there. And it's got an ARGB header on it, which is weird because the board has no RGB on it. You'd think if they offered the ARGB header, you know, that there'd be some RGB on the board. But just interesting that MSI did that. And I had 2 of these. And this is a case that requires mini ATX or micro ATX. I can't fit a full ATX size motherboard in here. And if we come around to the back here, there is some damage to the case, even though there was no damage to the box. Now the box that this arrived in was a plain box. It had no writing on the outside. Like when I get a Corsair or an NZXT, it says what it is on the outside. This is just a plain cardboard box with no writing on it. And the whole underside of it here has been caved in. And I'm going to pick this up. Here, let me grab it. And I'm going to walk it over here and I'm going to show you guys. Now, the good news is this material is so cheap and easily bendable that we should be able to bend it back. But this whole piece is caved in. It's going up. And inside there's another piece. And it's all concaved. However, you can see how flimsy this is. I can easily bend it. So I think when I put the power supply in, down here and secure it, it'll straighten it out. But that's what you get when you're buying a $50 case, all right? So as long as you know what to expect, you won't be disappointed. And in this little wire-tied bag here is your screws, mounting screws, which, you know, with the Corsair, you get that cardboard box, or NZXT, you get that nice plastic tool tray. On a $50 case, you get a little Ziploc bag.
And then show them the front I/Os.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for reminding me. You know, I hate when case manufacturers do this, but they've only given us one USB 2 and one USB 3, but the connectors that you plug into the motherboard feed 2. So that means you're going to lose 2 connectors on this board if you choose to hook these up. Your USB 3 connector would power 2 USB 3s, but they've only given you 1 plug. It would be like, you know, the wall outlet at your house has 2 plugs on it. It would be like if you went to the store and you bought one that had 1 plug on it and replaced the one that had 2. You wouldn't change any of the wiring in the house, you just would have 1 fewer plug, because that's all the outlet would provide you. So I guess the case manufacturers are saving $2, but for you to buy a USB hub to expand this out will set you back probably 15 or 20. So it's cheaper if you can get the case, if that's important to you. Pay attention when you're buying the case, any case, to make sure it's got the USB ports up top that you want, and it should have them in pairs. So they should either be two darker ones or 2 blue ones, or if it's a much better case, 2 of each with a total of 4 up front. Because whether you have 2, 3, or 4 is still going to require the 2 cables. 1 for USB 3, 1 for USB 2. And each of those cables powers 2 USB ports, and if it terminates to 1, you just don't get the other one. And they can make the cases a little cheaper and sell them a little cheaper. They can also make the metal a lot thinner. That reduces the case. Now they did go with real glass there, which is a surprise. You'd think in a case like this that would be plastic. And you can see these fans, I'm just noticing now, have Molex connectors, old school 1990s style Molex connectors. That means these fans are going to run full speed at all time. Oh, I see a little more damage up here too. It's kind of bowed out. Right up here. So yeah, I mean, that's a brand new case. That's how it arrives. It's got 1990s technology with some cheap RGB fans, and it's all the hot dog build, right? It's going to look great. And it's only a sharp eye that's going to really notice, hey, where's my missing USB ports? Hey, you know, this piece is kind of bubbled out. Hey, this bottom is kind of caved in. Hey, there's a missing PCIe slot cover, and these are breakout ones. So if they should fall out, you're on your own to get other, you know, to source some to put in there. So since we're going to be running onboard video, I don't have any video card to go in here. So we're already going to be 1 short. Luckily, I've got spares laying around. Probably not black, though. I think I have a bunch of silver ones. And, you know, $50. Now, for as little as $65, you could get a Corsair 200R, which will accept the full ATX size motherboard, as well as the micro ATX and mini ITX. You get a much thicker gauge of metal. You get the 2 USB 3s. You get 3 5¼ bays out front. You have toolless hard drive and solid state drive installation, meaning they lock in. You just slide them in with no hard drive trays or rails. And you get 2 quality fans that are going to be 3-pin DC fans versus these 4-pin Molex fans from the 90s. So I guess the only reason they're not from the 90s is we didn't have RGB on them back then. So you're going to get, you know, and the Corsair 200R, you're not going to get there's no RGB, there's no plastic or glass on it. It's just metal, good solid metal. And it's sort of a timeless design. In 10 years from now, it'll still look like a computer, whereas this may look like an old high school yearbook photo that you're embarrassed about in 10 years. But be that as it may, that's the current trend. I'm just noticing now, Mitch, I see 3 rubber feet down here for the power supply to sit on. They're like anti-vibration feet.
Okay.
But there should be 4 feet. So a foot is missing.
A foot?
Yeah, it's missing a foot. Just a little rubber base.
It is missing a foot.
Yeah.
Is it in the box? No.
No, because this was in a plastic bag and in styrofoam, so it would be inside of here. It might have stuck to something else.
We'll see when we open her up.
And it looks
yeah.
like if you wanted to put a 3.5-inch mechanical drive, you could only put one, and it's going to sit upright, like on some HPs and Dells. It sits upright right here.
Okay.
Then like a 2.5-inch solid state drive will sit down there. So it's not very expandable. This is mostly about how it looks. Proudly boasts that it's made in China. We got 2 thumb screws here. We've got these 4. There's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom that hold the glass in. You know what? Let's go ahead and take this glass off and let's take a look inside of it. Now, I wasn't expecting much. Again, this is something more like a giveaway or something I would sell inexpensively.
Got a nice dust filter.
It does, that's true.
Magnetic.
Wait, that one's on tight.
Need a screwdriver? Phillips? Straight
Yeah.
Edge? Straight edge?
It looks like a Phillips.
Phillips.
I don't know why that's on so tight.
Phillips.
Thank you.
If it's glass, let me step back.
Well, it would fall towards me,
Yeah.
not towards you.
And it's mighty thin glass.
This isn't too bad.
Bad.
Yeah, I would say the glass is probably the nicest part of the whole system. It's pretty thick, actually.
Steady. Okay.
So inside,
Look for that foot. All right. You need
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that foot. Yeah.
is it even in there?
Yeah.
So there's all our front port umbilicals. It's your USB 3. That's only going to give you one plug. There's USB 2. There's audio. This red connector. There's an orange connector. That's got to be for... Oh, and there's... Boy, they made them all different colors. Look at that. For your hard drive LED, power LED. What is this? Oh, this. So these Molex, these old school Molex connectors can plug into each other. So the 2 fans on top plus the fan in the back, these can all connect serial, one to the other, and then into the power supply. Now in this case, that's fine that it plugs into the power supply because that's just the RGB, right? And I would imagine there's probably a button up here, maybe, that controls the lighting on the front of the case. We'll just have to wait and see when we get to that point. But these fans will run at 100% at all times. They'll never slow down, they'll never stop. So whatever noise it's going to make, that's the noise it's always going to make. Unless you reach in there and unplug those fans. So it's the price you're paying for the look. And you can see this power cable right down here is feeding an LED strip that runs right up the middle of this piece. So like I said, it's probably going to be brighter in the middle than it is on the sides. So this is a new level of cheapness that I've come to. But it's the missing rubber foot doesn't seem to be in here at all, interestingly. Nothing. It's like they didn't bother to put it on there.
Huh.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the power supply won't move or wobble because we will secure it with the 4 screws. But I guess the thing I want you to keep in mind is when you're looking for a case, a lot of people are just looking at that price. And it's not that much more for Cooler Master, NZXT, Corsair, you know, more reputable case manufacturers that make their cases out of better materials and aren't going to use, you know, old school power connectors and such. You know, China kind of falls behind. Well, you know, iPhones are made in China, but also they still make stuff that's 1990s grade electronics there, and you got to know what you're buying. You know, places like AliExpress and other Chinese websites, boy, they're selling some stuff that, you know, we haven't used here in the States for decades. So be aware of that when you're making your purchase. Be a smart shopper. Returning a case can often cost more than a case is worth. So unless it arrives with significant damage, you know, you're probably going to be stuck with it. And in this particular instance, you can see that, how thin that metal is. I can bend this completely down. And this frame is a separate piece, but it doesn't come out. And I'm hoping that when we put the power supply in it, we can sort of push it and tighten it down with the screws and force that metal to conform.
Yep.
And then once it's built, you hope you never have to work on it ever again. Yeah, that's the one thing about these cases. Once it's built and the cable management is done, you'll probably go, wow, that's a pretty nice looking case. And you'll be, yeah, you don't want to see how it's made. But it's something different. And like I said, it saves money for the channel. Oh, look at that wobble. Well, that's because the bottom is bent. Not much we can do about that. And this front piece, I think this front piece just pulls off.
You gonna risk it?
I shouldn't.
I was just gonna say. Let me step back, all right?
It's in there with those plastic alligator clip thingies. Something's holding it in. All right, never mind. I don't want to risk it. I'm sure a little more brute force could pull it off, but I'm afraid it might, the plastic might be so brittle I might break it, and then it won't sit in there right. All right, so you'll often work harder when you buy the cheapest parts. And by that I mean you can buy cheap motherboards by manufacturers you never heard of, and you can have compatibility problems, support problems, configuration issues that they don't auto-configure the way some of the bigger brands do. And then of course there's the case. Even with power supplies, there's a certain level I won't go below. It's got to be 80 plus certified. So this is 80 plus bronze, $27.99. And they give you a bunch of stuff with it too. So we're going to cover that here in just a minute. What do you guys think? Who wants this computer? I'm just curious. Who would, let me rephrase. Who would buy this case? As a professional computer technician with over 30 years of experience in the industry, I would probably decline if a customer had called me and asked me to work on this, because chances are whatever I would charge them would be worth more than the whole system. It wouldn't make sense for somebody to have a high-end motherboard and a processor in a case this cheap. And then that's the other issue you run into. As long as you're going to do your own work, you know, who cares? But if you're going to rely on other people, you're probably going to spend way more and have more problems.
John says, blow it up. Oh no, it'll work. It'll work.
We got a couple people saying yes in here. So with the right expectations, it's fine, right? If you know what you're getting yourself into. I don't want you to think a computer case is a computer case and we're just comparing numbers as far as price goes. Oh, I found the foot. Look.
There it is.
Wait, don't remove it. I want to show them. So the foot.
Good eye.
Yeah, it was going to be hard to put the motherboard in. The foot came off and then stuck
right there.
Right here. So we need to peel that off and stick it down here.
It doesn't even have a little nubbin that it goes in a, no.
No, it's just double-sided sticky tape.
All right, well, there you go.
In fact, it feels like it's not quite on. Of course, once the power supply is sitting on top of it,
yep,
that'll keep it from falling off again, but cheap. It even looks like this is bent right here. I see like a little downward bend. It's very, very thin metal.
Yet it's weird, Chad. I mean, I took a look at the box, and it wasn't like the box was, bent or destroyed or anything like that. I mean, the box looked intact, so it's interesting that you'd have these imperfections.
John Kennedy thinks the Corsair 110Q at $85. Now, I do have a couple of those because a lot of folks in chat have mentioned them. And since I couldn't get the 200Rs, I ordered, I think I've got 3 of the 110Qs.
Okay.
And I thought if I don't like them, you know, we'll just sell them off cheap or something.
Yep.
But we'll build in them just to have the experience. I think 85 is a bit much for the 110Q. That should be a $65 case, in my opinion. Duncan says, oh, wow, you would have been asking what's a foot when putting the motherboard in with that there, eh?
Yeah.
You got that right.
Right.
Luke Greenia says, I don't think that case is worthy of the parts going in it. Well, I was looking maybe for like a 8th gen i5, but this is pretty much the lowest end I've got. That's a micro ATX form factor. I've got some older stuff. Oh, you know what I have? Now that you mention it, I have these boards from an upgrade from an office.
Okay.
And these boards already have coolers on them and everything, and this is, I'll bring it up to the camera, kind of a weird mounting. But these boards right here, check this out.
And what CPU do you think's underneath that fan?
That's a good question. This board is, these are good boards, by the way, very reliable. Don't let the size fool you. The only problem I can see is I don't have M.2 here, so I would have to put in a 2.5-inch solid state drive, which I really don't want to do.
Yeah.
I was looking at the make and model on this board. There's a build video of me putting this together years ago. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. They're all in perfect shape. And they're going to run Windows 10 just fine, maybe not Windows 11. I don't think they'll qualify for Windows 11.
And that's got HDMI on the back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got HDMI, DVI, and VGA, video outs. And yeah, that would actually be a much better board for this. They are not incorrect. However,
No NVMe.
and I do have 2.5-inch solid state drives. I just don't want to do the cabling. I was looking for a model number on this. Oh, it's an H97M. So it's a 97 series chipset. So it's going to be, what generation of Intel chip is that? 6th? I'd have to power it up to check. I can't remember. But food for thought. I have a couple other cheap cases that I bought. This is just one of about 4, and they're all different.
Was that me?
I think that's you.
Sorry.
Popular guy.
I turned that off, didn't I?
You know what? I've got another one right here. What is this? Oh, this is a this is a mini ITX board. So I don't want to use that.
That's real tiny, right?
Yeah, that's mini ITX. That's actually raising up the price by using that board. So I honestly think this is probably going to be the best board for this instance. And I think once you get past the whole building process, once it's all put together, I think you'll agree that this is the right board for this project because it's going to look impressive, I think. To an untrained eye, to somebody looking at computers, they're going to be drawn to this. And you know, it's a good power supply. It's got a good warranty. I think putting this cooler on that has the RGB is going to add a little flair to it. And then we'll use those other older boards on some of the other cases I've got that are, I think I've got a couple cases that are around the $40, $45 price point that might be better for those 97 series boards. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing that was nice about this MSI mortar is it's got the built-in I/O shield.
Yeah.
And that's pretty unusual on a budget board. But don't try looking for them. They're all sold out. All right, let me step back around. Let's see what I'm missing in the chat room. Alexandru Lonesco contributes 25 RON. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, that's unusual.
We've seen that one before. I got to Google that. Romanian lube.
Oh.
That's about $5.74. Thank you for your contribution and your support, Alexandru. He says, so happy to finally catch you live again. Time zone differences suck. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to just scroll through the chat here. $200 is available from Corsair itself. Somebody must not be looking at Corsair. It was available for about 3 days, and it's not available anymore. Outlaw Creative says, Carrie, I bought a Western Digital Blue SATA SSD hard drive. Is that any good? You know, there's no such thing as good or bad. You know, what you think is good and what somebody else thinks is good is really up to each individual to decide for themselves. No different than asking me if the steak is better than the chicken. You know, one person will say one thing and one person will say another, and neither person is wrong. If you're happy with your purchase and you know it, clap your hands. If you're not, return it. I don't know what to tell you. Rick Hubbard contributes £5. Rick joins us from London. Hey, thank you, Rick. Carrie, are you worried about Bitcoin dropping? If you know me, you know I love when Bitcoin drops because that's the best time to buy it. So right now, it's been falling about $1,000 a day for the last 20 days. Let it keep falling, and then when it starts to go back up, buy it. Bitcoin does this all the time. It's never once fallen where it didn't recover to a higher value, a record high value. It's always the way it goes. It's like, hey, the roller coaster stopped going down. Are you worried the roller coaster won't be any fun anymore? Because all it does is it just goes, and you're like, gee, nothing's ever happening. Well, it's got to prepare you to drop you, right? So it's the opposite analogy in this case. But you know that part of the roller coaster where you just have to sit and wait till it climbs, you know, up the top of the peak, and then it just releases you, and then the fun begins. So right now, I think Bitcoin dropping is wonderful, and you know, geez, if it could get down to 20 grand, what I wouldn't do to buy some at 20 grand. Too many people think it's something you buy and then you cash it out tomorrow. It's something you have to hold, and it's going to give you a better return than any savings account or pretty much any stock in the same time frame. But you can't, if you're a day trader, Bitcoin's nothing I would invest in. It's too unpredictable. But it always falls and it always climbs to a record high, and then it'll fall again, and then it'll climb to a record high. Just look at where Bitcoin was 10 years ago today and compare it and see for yourself. So let's see, Zadravko says, hello, hey, welcome in Zadravko. There's Michael Dane, says just gave away another Samsung Note 10 tablet to a veteran. He asked me for help with the internet. His computer was fried, so I gave him my Samsung tablet so he can keep up with his family, and he loves it. Right on, Michael. Such a cool dude, isn't he? Bradley says the Corsair website shows the 200 are back in stock. Well, I checked it yesterday. I did not check it today. Let me just see if it's back in stock. Oh, that's interesting. Well, there you go, folks. If you want to grab one while you can. $64.99. And I think there is a limit of 2 per person, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 2 per person is the maximum allowed.
Okay.
So if you want to grab one, now is your chance. Thank you for making me aware of that. I just checked it yesterday.
Okay.
In fact, I've been checking it every day.
Michael in MD. I just bought a Synology DS220 Plus. I would like to ask Mitch, what software is the best to rip DVDs to put on it? Make MKV. There you go. It's free.
Make MKV.
KV.
Just Google that.
Mm-hmm.
One word.
Yes. Make MKV. And you can rip them. I just got the, as a gift, kind of a late Christmas gift to myself, I just got the complete 5 seasons of the TV show Taxi that I very much. So I've been Busy this morning, ripping the seasons to load up on my NAS 918 Plus that Uncle Kerry helped me fix. So she's back up and running.
Thanks to Nick Poverman and
Mitch, is that a new hairdo? No, we call that bedhead, because I will tell you, chat, yesterday I got up at 4:30 in the morning because my talent agency is shooting kind of a commercial, a promo for their agency. And I was driving on a road at sunrise, a beautiful vintage Toyota, I guess they call them an RJ. It's kind of Jeep looking at sunrise with a drone, kind of beautiful shots of me going up this road where nobody was on at sunrise, and sometimes a drone would be next to me, and I looked at the footage and it's just money. It's just, we call that money. It's so I'm anxious to see. The director said he'll send me a rough cut in about a week, but as soon as it's out, I certainly will send you a link. And then, so that was sunrise, and then we had other footage, and he's like, I know you're ailing, Mitch, but would you kind of help crew? And I said, as long as I don't have to lift anything heavy. So I was really up from 4:30 until 7 p.m. yesterday, and I want to tell you, I went home, showered, and right into bedsy wedsy for this old man. That was one long day for me.
yeah, we can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Richard Angeline contributes $5. He said, Mitch, is that a new hairdo? I love this show.
No, we call that bedhead, so.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Nick Poverman and Bradley, where is he? I just want to say, Bradley Morris, thanks to both of you for correcting me, or updating me. My information was a day old. This industry moves very, very quickly. I saw some Scythe Mugen 5s, the Black Edition, were in stock at Amazon, and I bought a few, and as soon as I bought them, it said, out of stock. So
yeah.
Apparently I grabbed the last couple. There weren't
Yeah.
very many. So I hopefully have those coming.
Yeah.
And as far as the 200Rs go, I would strongly advise that you guys consider, if you like that case, get one now.
Yeah.
Because there's no telling how many they have, or when or if they will get restocked again. It did say it was out of stock for the last 3 or 4 to 5 days. They were in stock for about 3 days, and then it said they were out of stock. And I had ordered 2 of them, and my order says it hasn't shipped yet. So I'm wondering, I was concerned, did they sell more than they have? Because again, after I placed my order, they said out of stock, just like with the Mugen 5s. So you got to be pretty quick on the draw with this. And $65 is a great price. This is a $50 case, and it's a world of difference between the two. So, my appreciation to you guys for making me aware of that, so you guys can take advantage of it.
And some people are asking how Mitch is doing. I appreciate that. Of course, people who know, Carrie and I went out to dinner Christmas Eve. I slipped on a wet sidewalk. It
was raining.
Fell on my back. I wound up breaking 2 ribs here on my left side. But every day I get up and it's a little less and a little less, so it's healing. It would happen to happen during prime motorcycle riding weather, but I'm on the mend. It's painful, but again, there's nothing you can do. They used to have you bind them, but they don't anymore, and so the doc said, you just got to suck it up, Buttercup. And so that's
life is pain.
Just don't lift anything heavy. No going to the gym, and no riding the motorcycle for 4 to 8 weeks, and so I'm going to listen to him, and
I'll ride the motorcycle.
Okay. Do you have a license?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
XRod666 contributes $10. He says, howdy, a little late, but I'm here. Well, we're glad to have you here. Thank you for supporting the channel. All right, well.
To work, to work.
Should we get some work?
Yeah.
Romex says, greetings, Mitch and Carrie in the chat. Hey, greetings. Catherine Anna Hauserman's joining us, and Michael Gote. And who else? Zdravko contributes 100 HRK. That's another one I can never remember.
Is that Hong Kong
HRK? It's interesting, people watching us from all over the world and don't know their currencies. Croatian kunas. You know, I will remember that. I've probably done this a half dozen times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's about $15. Hey, thank you for the support, and it's just awesome that we have people watching us in Croatia, you know. Mm-hmm. But the link to Corsair with those $200 is there in the chat room, as well as a link to Make MKV that Lou Greenia posted.
Yeah, and like Carrie says, if you want a $200R, I'm telling you, you better go because they're going to get snapped up. So.
Yeah, and I'm not making any commission from this. Corsair has no idea who I am. They're probably puzzled why all their $200s are selling.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Why is everybody buying this?
We should let them know.
But yeah, let them know that they need to keep making that case. Mm-hmm. As long as they're selling them, they'll keep making them. So, and for those of us who don't want the glass or plastic panels, and we don't want RGB, the $200R is one of the last cases, and it's $20 less than that 110Q. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the placement of the buttons on the 110Q. They're at the top rather than at the front. And, you know, we tend to stack stuff on top of our cases.
Yep.
And it just covers things up or makes it difficult to access some of the USB ports when we do that. It's not terrible, but I think the $200R is preferred. And the $200R is more upgradable. It's a bit wider. It's got better airflow. And it's $20 cheaper. So if between the 110Q and the $200R, I'll still take the $200R as the superior case. And then I'll fall back on a 110Q as better than nothing, or better than RGB and glass.
Okay.
So I still have a build to do in a 110Q, but from what I've seen of it so far, that's my presumption of what I'm about to endure with it. I definitely think I'm not going to like it as much.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, do know that this live video is in DVR mode, and that means that you can rewind the video just as you could any YouTube video to see what you've missed. So I guess we'll get started here.
Okay.
What should we start? Should we mount the board into the case, or should we put the power supply in first and straighten that out?
Let's try the power supply first.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you know what? I want to show off this power supply because I think it's a pretty damn good value, if I don't say so myself. Let's move the case out of the way here. Let's show everybody what you get in the box.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Let's get the camera operator over here. Camera operator to work with some close-ups. Let's see, which is that? I think that's camera 3. We're waiting for it to link.
Linky link.
It should link here in just a minute. Matt Power contributes $5. Hey, Matt, thank you for that.
It's a wonderful day here in Phoenix. Would you say 66?
It was.
Blue skies, yeah.
There we go. Now we're on the wireless camera.
Okay. Here's what's in
All right. Well, let's bring it up a little closer. Now look at what you get in the box. For $27.99 as of today, January 7th, 2022. We've got the instructions.
Okay.
We've got, this will force power on, like if you had to prime a liquid pump or something.
Okay.
You can force the power supply to come on by plugging this in to the motherboard connector. We've got some nylon zip ties. We've got a power cable. We've got nice bubble packaging here, which I've never seen on a power supply before. All the cables are black. They're not the ketchup and mustard ugly cables. It's a good looking power supply. We should have some screws as well. I'm assuming they're in the bag. They're not there. Before you seal that up, do you see any screws? I think you got a screw loose, Mitch. It's definitely not in that bag. Oh, they're in with the zip ties. All right, we're good. And I think this is a 3-year warranty, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why they give you an instruction manual, but even that's a full color instruction manual. So I think they're just trying harder because they're a smaller
3
company.
years, yep.
Yeah, go ahead and show that to the camera. There's all your specs there on the back page.
Wrong side. All right. Right there, yeah. 3 years. 28 biscuits. Beans,
$27.99
bongs,
and free
bongos,
shipping
yeah.
with Amazon.
Ooh.
And free returns. If you don't like it, you send it back. What more could you possibly want?
80 plus bronze, okay?
Yeah, and it's 80 plus certified, so that means it's power efficient to that level. All right, so now the fun part will be getting this power supply installed in the case with the warped metal.
Okay.
But the benefit of thin metal is it's easy to bend back. So
You pick it up, Muscles.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
yeah. And I think I'll go ahead and take this other panel off. It's got to come off anyway. And it looks like they're the same screws that hold the glass in on the other side, which is interesting. Nothing special there. I do like that they kind of bubbled out the edge here, so your cable management has a recess. So, little something positive. And then we've got the screws for mounting the motherboard and extra standoffs.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that just cut me
Workman's comp.
right down here. See that bend?
Ooh.
Just,
You all right?
well, it may not have, it felt like it cut me. We'll see if blood comes out.
With any luck. All right.
All right, so here's going to be the fun part. Because this is warped, you can push it down.
Okay.
You see how much that's moving right here? And then it's got another piece here that's also got a bend. I'd say go ahead and set that in. Yeah.
It's this way.
Fan facing down. Man, this thing is sharp. Be careful of these edges, folks. Those are really sharp.
I can't push
Yeah,
it.
no,
in
you
front.
can't, because look at what's happening right here.
Ah.
So what I'd have to do is lift this power supply up. Now here's this is interesting. The motherboard tray covers up. It's almost like it's got a shroud on the wrong side. That's very strange. There should be no metal here. There's no advantage to this whole piece of metal. If I had a Sawzall, I would just cut that whole thing out. That's just dumb. The reason I was trying to reach in there,
And then does the power supply have to go under this?
let's take a look. No, there's nothing for it to go
Okay.
under. But what we can do is lift the power supply on top of that piece, and then using the power supply as a
Kind of weight.
as a point of leverage, what I'm trying to do is bend this piece here with the weight of the power supply, which isn't working.
Someone in chat said a cutting edge case.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
Can I see the red driver?
Yes.
And I'm going to crank this. And I need a longer screw. I wonder if these are the same thread. That should bend it back into shape just like that. And then I'll do the same thing here by pushing down. There we go. I can take this one back out, I think. So close. They're so close.
No.
So what I'm doing, the reason why I'm securing the screws is so I can push down on the power supply and move the whole case.
Gotcha.
And I think the other mounting point, where is it? It's right here. That's a sound you don't normally hear when you're building a computer.
Yeah, you said it. I didn't.
Yeah. I'm going to loosen these back up, but still keep them in there.
Okay.
What I need to really do is put a lot of weight down on top of this, right here. There it is. Remember what I said? When it's done, it's going to look good, but you're not going to want to work on this. And this is pretty typical with these really budget cases from these no-name manufacturers. And then before I forget, I want to turn the clutch way back down. But you sort of straighten that out now. I mean, you need a sharp eye to notice it.
Right.
As well as if you look up here, you can see how the metal's bent right there. And again, on the other side, if you focus the camera here.
It got bent
Mm-hmm. Yep.
in shipping.
But the made in China is perfect.
Ah.
And then you can see up here, we've got the 2 additional fans up there. You notice these fans are blowing air out. So why is there a filter if it's blowing air out? You know why? Made in China. American cases don't do that. Okay, so are there any American cases? They're all made in China. Well, that was an adventure. We can bring
Okay.
the camera back over
Okay.
here. What do you think, motherboard?
Sure. Yeah. We'll lay it flat, right?
Yeah. What is this, pieces? So I guess it didn't cut me. It sure did feel like it was cutting me. I might be predisposed to thinking it's going to cut me just based on everything I'm seeing. So now I want to make sure that if you look down inside the case, we have these brass standoffs, and I need to make sure those are aligning with the holes on this motherboard for mounting.
Okay.
This motherboard's a bit wide, wider than most. And they do give us some extra standoffs in this bag right here of screws that looks like they give us 1 extra standoff. Based on this board, if we put the board in this way, we've got 1, 2, 3 holes on top, 1, 2, and then nothing. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 holes across the middle, 1, 2, and then nothing. And then we've got 1, 2 on the bottom. And on the bottom we've got 1 and 2. So we're missing 2 standoffs as I predicted. And so in this bag we have all of our potential mounting screws for mounting things like hard drive, solid state drive, motherboard, even the power supply, but the power supply came with its own screws, so we don't have to use these. And if we look in here, for some reason, they should have given us 2 extra standoffs, but they only gave us 1. And I've got to guess that that standoff has to go right here. Now I want you to notice something. This is going to really bother me now that I've seen it, and I can't unsee it. Do you see where these standoffs are? And do you see where these fans are? I mean, that's the top of the board is going to be right up against those fans. Those fans should be up a little higher, or the case should be a little taller, or these mounting points should be, you know, a good 1/4 inch lower. That could be a problem. This is a 5mm socket that I use. I picked this up from Harbor Freight Tools, and this is in my Amazon shop. If you look at my video notes, you'll see all the tools I use are available there at Amazon. But that looks awfully far away. Let's see if that's going to fit. I'm doing this standing up just so you guys can get a view. But look at what's happening. Look at, see how that's intersecting with the fans?
Ah, yes.
So, I can't even put this board in. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it'll just go in there.
Okay.
So we're okay, we're lined up here and here, here and here. We have nothing in that far corner. And there's not even, well, there is a mounting point for it, but they didn't give us the standoff. And then getting this out, I don't know how we're supposed to get this out now, because you see how it goes right up against this edge, it goes right up against that edge, and it goes right up against this edge. That smaller motherboard that I had would be more ideal in this case. Oh, come on. What a hassle. You know, it's going to perform well and it's going to look great, but you're not going to want to work on this. I wouldn't want to. I don't even want to work on it now. So, yeah, they should have given us an extra standoff. So we're one standoff short. Now, I can just put a spacer up there. Although, if you don't have a little plastic standoff that I just called a spacer, you don't have to worry about it. The other screws are going to secure it, but what a shame they didn't give us that one extra. Because that would have cost them a quarter of a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's a bummer. So close. Now, you know, if you have extra standoffs laying around, you could probably use one. It looks like it would go right there. I wonder if we have any extras here. There's my standoffs. Not a part I need very often these days.
Yeah.
This case is like going back in time. I guess we're just going to use the plastic. Again, you know, they gave us the holes, but they didn't give us the brass standoff. There should have been two. They only gave us one, so it's cheap. They're cutting corners everywhere, even to the extent of something that inexpensive. Cost-wise, it's negligible. But we'll just use one of these instead. It'll be fine. In fact, I think I have an old school one here that screws in like a standoff. I just saw it. Well, no, not that one. Maybe not. I swear it was in here. Well, look how yellow these are. Little nylon. And what I'll do is I'll just cut the little nub off of that, and then it'll make a little flat table. So that'll plug into the back of the board and it'll rest against the case without shorting out against the case. And then that's going to go right up in this corner, which would be a hard place to reach for that screw with these fans in the way anyway.
You want to lay it flat?
Yeah, let's go ahead and lay it flat, and we'll do it the right way. We want to get these fan cables out of the way now.
And the twist ties? Yeah.
It'll give us some more slack. You don't have to remove the twist ties. Just what we want to do is push these, or route these rather. Let's get them out through the back. Okay. And in this one as well, needs to go out through the back. In that case, I will have to remove the twist tie just to get us enough length. And just find a wire management hole that you can grab onto. And that one's not big enough. That's lovely. They didn't give us a wire management hole here.
Big enough for a Molex. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't do it. It's just not there. So what we can do is, the motherboard isn't going to rest against the back of the tray. So we can run out through this large opening for the CPU cooler bracket. and the motherboard will just sit on top of those. It's about the best we're going to be able to do here. But like I said, the motherboard is held up by these brass standoffs, so it's not going to pinch these cables at all. Okay, now I can put the board in. Now the board goes in on an angle. It's got to go in the front first, and usually I have a heat sink to hold on to, but I guess I can hold on to the I/O shield here. I got the standoff caught in one of the holes in the case. I'm being held up by something.
It's actually the fan.
So I could take the fans out, but since I've already had it in there once, I know it will fit. You just have to get the angle right. There it goes. So right now, this, you see there's a, it's trying to route this cable around. And so the cable is causing me grief. That should be better. Nope. So what's this fan cable? So a much easier way would be to go ahead and remove this rear case fan. But out of my own sheer stubbornness, I am not going to do that. Keep dropping my microphone. Okay, now what's hanging me up now? There it goes. That's it right there. Okay, now let's hurry up and secure this thing before it changes its mind. And can I see the glasses? I'm not sure which of these screws we use here for the brass standoffs. I'm going to guess well, they've given us a lot of these fine threaded screws. The coarse threads, I don't think there's enough. These might be just for hard disk drives. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they've only given us 4 of those, so it's got to be the fine thread because I don't have enough of the others. So don't tilt that too much, please. There. So I have to hold it with one hand and secure it with the other because there's no center post like on the Corsairs and NZXT and others. Yep, it is the fine threaded screws. Those did secure, so if they were the wrong thread, they either wouldn't start or they would just spin. Oh, this one should be fun.
This would be easier.
Oh, that's way off. I guess I have to loosen these.
What about that one?
Yeah, they're off, though.
Oh.
You can't see that that's not lined?
Where are my short glasses?
Oh. So what's happened is the board is sitting on an angle. It's tilted. So I have to push this side down. There we go.
There you go.
But what I was about to say is, this one up here might be difficult to get to. Well, that's why I said, you know, having this one in the corner be a standoff probably is a blessing in disguise. And this one, holy smokes. Oh, I got lucky. I got lucky.
One left there.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and pick it back up on its feet. Now you see it doesn't look so bad. I mean, if you didn't know what was lurking underneath, ignorance is bliss, as they say. The I/O shield's not exactly straight, you can see here, but there's no adjustment to that. Once the screws lock the motherboard into position, there's no moving it any further than that, other than perhaps brute force to bend the case, to force it in to where you want it to be. And then you'll notice one of the mounting holes for the panel is going to go right up against that I/O shield. Can I see that screwdriver real quick? I just want to see if we're going to hit the motherboard with that. Sure does look like we're going to. Oh, yeah, it just hit the board. Wow. If you can show the camera, let's turn it this way. I want you to look right here between this metal of the case and the silver metal of the I/O shield. Watch what happens. Right there, see it?
Yep.
You see that bowing out?
Yeah.
And that screw's not all the way in, but that's as far as I can drive it.
Okay.
So we might have to replace these with something. See how long the screw is? There's no reason that screw has to be that long. This is the standard thread of a typical computer screw right there versus that thumb screw. So we might have to change those on this side. This side doesn't need thumb screws anyway. Yeah, see that? That's all the way in. Yeah. So I got a feeling we're not going to be putting thumb screws back on this side. So you've got to keep in mind these really inexpensive cases, they have a lot of caveats that you will be voluntarily submitting yourself to or subjecting yourself to that will require some out-of-the-box thinking, if you will, to get around the poorly thought-out design that was strictly based to hit a price point at whatever cost. So this is to be expected. If you don't want to expect this, spend more money on a name brand case. Thank you, Mitch. All right. I think expectations are important, and they're going to define whether or not you're happy with your project. And so a lot of times, let me put that in that drawer there. A lot of times I think people get upset because they're expecting to have a similar experience to what I show here. And typically what I show here are machines I sell to my customers. I would never sell a machine like this to one of my customers. This is affecting my reputation. Customers don't see the companies involved here, they see me. And if they think that's a piece of crap case that I sold them, they're unlikely to recommend me or return for more business. Even if the price was cheaper, I can't say to them, well, if you wanted a better case, you should have paid more. Because in most situations, the customers are trusting me to sell them what they need. And if they say, for example, the customer says, well, I only have $500 to spend. And I go, well, I can do that if I, go with a cheap case. If I'm just brutally honest and say, yeah, the case isn't going to be very well built. It may have some damage. It may be difficult to work in, and it's going to increase the labor time. But if I give you the labor time just because I feel sorry for you and that's your budget, you have to create all these caveats. And then the customer says, okay, that's fine. If that's what we have to do, let's do it. And then a year or two goes by. And they call you and they say, oh, it's running slow, I need to upgrade it. And you go, well, I can't really upgrade this. It's bent out of shape, it won't fit, or the labor on it's going to be too much. I already did it once at a discount. I'm not going to do it indefinitely at a discount. Now they get angry. And you say, well, remember when I sold this to you, we had this discussion. I don't remember any such discussion. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have bought it. So now you got to make sure you get it in writing, right? And even then, nobody likes that. You can't say, well, I never had the discussion. Well, let me pull out the contract you signed. They don't go, oh, well, you're such a nice guy. They just get angrier. Now, Mitch, we have a new problem, I just realized. As if this couldn't get any worse. How are we going to put the back plate on for the CPU?
Maybe it's one of those kind with just the screws to lock in and no back plate. No? Just wishful thinking.
There has to be a back plate.
Okay.
Here's the deal, though. Mitch, take a look at the back.
It's off.
Yeah, it's off. It's off center.
Like this whole build. All right.
It's off center.
Yeah. All right. So then you have to have the kind with the 4 screws, right?
Well, you still have to have a back plate, Mitch.
Get out the 10 snips and snip them.
Well, you know what? If you had the push on, you know, with the clips that you didn't have to come in from the back, yeah, that's going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem. I'm also realizing, you know, the way we ran these fans here, there's no cable management room back here. They have to be over here, which means we have to extend the cables all the way across. I don't know if they're long enough for that. But in order to do that, the motherboard has to come back out.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know, I'm thinking maybe that smaller motherboard is going to be more appropriate for this case. We are right at the maximum capacity, and we're running into some of these cable management and wiring and CPU backplate issues. And I think the smaller board would be more centered on the back here.
Okay.
So these aren't as universal, one-size-fits-all as like the Corsair and ZXT Cooler Master cases, or Fantex, or Fractal. You know what I'm saying? Like the big name brands, you can pretty much put any AMD, any Intel board in them as specified. Now this one says any micro ATX, but that's a micro ATX and it doesn't fit. So this is why this case is $50 and those cases are about 100 or more. So what do we do? What do we do? Chat room. I can do one of two things. The board has to come out so that we can reroute the fan cables, and while the board is out, we can go ahead and mount the cooler, and then when we put the board back in, we'll be good to go. But that does mean working on this in the future is going to be a royal pain in the butt. Something as simple as wanting to check your thermal compound or replacing it is going to require complete removal, potentially, of the entire board. And that means taking all the cables off that are connected to the board, power, I/O, all of that stuff. Makes it very, very difficult to work on. So this is why I'll keep reiterating, this is what I call a hot dog build, in the sense that when it's together and it's all lit up, you'll go, ooh, pretty. But if you try to work on it, it'll be like your worst nightmare. And a 5-minute job on any other computer is going to take far, far longer on this computer. You'll have to do more labor because you wanted to save a few dollars. So you are paying for it with your time. Hey, there's Marty. Marty Yoel contributes $10 and he says, LMAO, hello. Hey, Marty. Glad you can laugh at my torture.
Well,
everybody's saying we should just put the Z97 board in there. Technus Corner says, OMG, those are actually Rotornium fans. They are $4 Australian each. I bought 6 for my rig the other week. Yeah, $4 Australian is like $2 US.
Huh.
Let's see what else we have in the chat room. Please have Mitch tell a joke. Oh man, why? Michael Dane says, Carrie, I got a question for you. The error code after installing Windows 10 blue screened with WHEA, uncorrectable error. So the WHEA, I have to look that up. I forgot what that is. WHEA, uncorrectable error, is a, how do you fix an uncorrectable error? Is that funny?
Yeah.
WHEA, I forget what that stands for. Windows hardware, blah, 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 blah. Usually that's a sign of bad memory. but I'm trying to remember Windows Hardware Error Architecture, WHEA, Windows Hardware Error Architecture. But generally speaking, that's bad RAM that causes that. That would be my guess. Damaged hard drive, a damaged graphics card, a damaged CPU, a damaged power supply, all of that could also, literally it's a piece of hardware is what it's telling you. And in my experience, it's usually the RAM. But it could be any piece of hardware. What else are they saying here in the chat room? Paul O'Brien contributes €2. He says, here's for a Gatorade. Hey, thank you, Paul. K. Cordius Technology contributes $5. He says it's going to get tough running a CPU cable using cable management in that case. Here's $5 for labor. Phew, $5 for labor. Craig Lilly wants to know, where do crows go to drink? A crowbar. How do crows stick together in a flock? Velcro. And what do you call a prehistoric crow? Cro-Magnon.
Okay.
That's a lot of crow jokes. Probably 3 too many, I think. All of the parts we're using in today's build, including the operating system, are all listed in the video notes below the video if you're curious. Just click Show More underneath the video and you'll see all of the details. Michael Dane said he had drivers that were causing the problem. That's interesting. The Google results say it's definitely hardware, but I suppose, you know, since the drivers are the tool that tells the software, the operating system, how to talk to the hardware, sure, I suppose drivers could do that as well. Cowboy Rowdy with a $5 contribution said, I sent you a gift card. Hey, thank you, Cowboy Rowdy. I appreciate that. Steve wants to know, what's the biggest hammer Amazon sells? You need a break? You doing okay? We'll go back to the main camera. We'll give you a break. Because I have to decide what we're going to do, so there's no reason for you to
That
stay
would make
there.
sense.
Okay, let me go back to camera 1. I can't see where camera 1 is. All right, we're on camera 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Clunk Alex says, hello, Carrie and Mitch. Jason Mirabel contributes $5. Says, Carrie, I've been watching a lot, but not live. Great laptop video. Agree with the other chatter. I want to hear a Mitch and Carrie joke. Oh,
Okay.
they're asking for it.
All right, here we go. They're asking for it. I gotta squat down. Now, my friends, it's time for a little segment of this program we call Bad Joke, Corny Joke of the Day. So let me think. Okay. What happens if you accidentally spill ketchup on your glasses?
What happens if you accidentally spill ketchup on your glasses?
You get hindsight.
Oh. You know, you guys asked for that. There's no sympathy from me on that. You asked for it. Captain Blinsky says, sent you a PayPal as Dave Coleman. That's me.
Okay.
Well, I need a break from this for a minute anyway, so I'm going to think about how I want to approach this. I'm stubborn. I kind of want to finish what I started. I don't want to change the board out, but oh, there are some things that came in here.
Ooh.
So Gilbert sent in a $10 Amazon gift card. Thank you, Gilbert. And $10 came in from David Coleman. Thank you, David. And Miguel Torres contributed as well, $10. And David Martinez contributed a $25 Amazon gift card. Right on. Well, thanks, guys. I'll definitely use those. After all, most of the parts we're buying are all coming from Amazon. A couple things from Newegg, but mostly Amazon. And it's your support that's, you know, allowing for projects like this. And
Fascinating projects like this.
well, look, I'm going to go through this so that if you go through it, you knew better.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You're not going to be surprised. You're going to have your expectations set, and you understand that when you're going to pay less for stuff like this, what your potential involved labor is going to be. And, you're going to pay one way or another. You're paying with your time or you're going to pay with your money. And you might pay with limitations. You might pay with cuts to your fingers because of sharp edges. You're going to have to decide this on your own, but I don't want you to be surprised. Know what to expect, and happiness should be ensured. David Kudajar contributes 20 Australian dollars and says, hey, thanks so much for the videos. Because of you, I have built my own PCs since 2013.
Nice.
That's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Geez, I must be getting old. Well, thank you. Thanks for the support, and thank you for letting me know that my videos have been helpful to you. I appreciate that. Do you know what dog scientists love? The lab. That joke is brought to you by Carrie.
And Frank says Mitch's jokes don't really cut the mustard.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Trying to pronounce Carrie's last name there. Giason? Carrie, do you ever buy technology from a physical store? Oh, God, no. No, what is this, 1995? Nope. Do you know what kind of dog is a great swimmer? Oh, Carrie is telling more dog jokes.
Oh, okay.
It's a lap dog. I don't think that's a breed.
Ah.
Michael Dane says, do you know what computers eat for a snack? Microchips. Wow, these are bad.
Yeah.
Can you cut off the unwanted cables? Well, there's no reason that, first of all, there should be no unwanted cables. We could take the fans off and replace them with non-RGB or like Corsair RGB fans. 2 Corsair LL120s cost more than this whole case. And there's 3 fans in it.
Yeah.
So you'd spend $77 for 3 Corsair fans to replace the 3 in this $50 case. There are no extra cables as far as anything to be cut off, unless you didn't want to hook up the RGB. But even then, I would just grab a nylon zip tie and coil them up, because you might change your mind, or you might sell it to somebody later who might want to hook up the RGB. So, I mean, it's yours to do with what you want. If you think you're just going to throw it in the trash when you're done with it, do whatever you want to it. But I wouldn't ever cut any cables off of a computer case. Never. I think the going to a store to buy something, especially technology, is history. When I can just sign into Amazon and look through millions and millions of in-stock parts and have it right to my door, sometimes the same day, and I don't have to get off the couch, and I'm not burning the gas, and I'm not adding to the congestion and the traffic and the air pollution. I'm not dealing with crowds of people. I'm not going into a store trying to find somebody to help me. I'm not having my receipt checked on the way out the door. I'm not going out to my car in the parking lot to find somebody swung their door open into my car and left a big ding, or worse, and bumped into my car and damaged it and drove away. I don't like the idea that if there's something wrong with the part, I have to go back to the store, wait in another returns line, and then be scrutinized that I did something to damage it by some 16-year-old kid who doesn't know anything compared to me about the technology, and they're questioning me. So I find the whole process offensive. I would much rather log into Amazon or Newegg, buy what I need, have it to my door. If I don't like it or I need to return it or it's damaged, it's no big deal to return it. And everything goes on credit cards. So I have 30 days before that bill comes due. So it's not like, when you go to a traditional retail store, especially if something's on sale and it's not there and you got to find somebody to go check if it's in the back, and then they're gone forever. Like, what do they do, take a smoke break? I am so glad those days are behind us. I have no interest in that. I won't even go to a bookstore. If I want a book, I order it on Amazon. I love that I've been reading this new Star Wars trilogy, and the first 2 books had come out, and I went ahead and ordered the 3rd one that was due out in January, this month. And I forgot about it. And all of a sudden, I got this email that said, your package is shipped. I'm like, what package? I didn't order anything. Yeah, it was the 3rd book. And then I got an email that said, you had a price guarantee. You paid $24 for the book, and the price is now $19.99. So $4 and change has been credited back to your account, and it all happens automatically. Now, if that was a retail store, I'd have to drive back to the retail store, wait in a line, show my receipt, pay attention to know even that the price dropped. What a hassle. This all happened automatically, and I've got other things going on. So that's just a nice little bonus of $4 extra I wasn't expecting. And the book I totally forgot about the book. Keanu Reeves has that new comic book out. And the first 4 are available, and the second 4 are coming out this fall. Well, I will forget. I can go on Amazon right now and pre-order it. Now, last time I went to Barnes & Noble, they didn't do anything like that. So maybe they do now, and it's probably online. And even Walmart and Target are all focusing on online, and even grocery stores are having people shop online. Although me personally, I don't like shopping for groceries online because I want to pick the food I want. I want to check the expiration dates. I want to pick the fruit. I want to look for the best value, and just having somebody mindlessly grab items.
And sometimes you go down the aisle, you weren't thinking about it, but you go, oh, well, I'll try that, or it's something. So it's that impulse that you're like, I could use a couple of those that you.
Yeah. But I mean, that happens at Amazon too. I'll be just kind of,
Right.
People who bought this item also we recommend, and I went, oh, that looks pretty good, and I like that I can, apart from food, if it's other things, people who bought the spatula like this other cooking utensil. If I don't like the cooking utensil, I send it back. So, yeah, not burning the gas, not sitting in traffic, not potentially getting a car accident or having my car break down or having somebody hit me, not going out in 115 degree Fahrenheit weather, not waiting in a line trying to find somebody to help me or waiting in a line trying to check out to give somebody my money. I really want a job where people wait in line to give me their money.
Photo Ray says, but I do like going to Costco and getting the free samples. Yeah, I mean, you can avoid lunch by just walking the aisle.
I'm such a fussy eater.
And trying that,
GM says, I am the worst grocery shopper. I make a list, I get stuff on the list, and I pay for the groceries and leave. That's just being a man. You go in with a mission,
Yeah.
you don't deviate from the mission.
Right. Just what's on the list.
But sometimes I squirrel. Sometimes I go in there, oh, what's this? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's this? Yeah, and then I end up, I went in for one thing, and I end up with a cart full of stuff. And the worst store for that is Target. I go into Target for one thing, and I'm like, I better get a basket.
Right.
Yeah, I'll walk into Target and grab a basket. Why are you grabbing a basket? You're just coming for one thing. It's Target.
Yeah.
I know me. It's not going to hurt to have one thing in the basket, but it's going to really hurt if I'm trying to juggle everything.
Right.
It does keep me from spending too much. If I can't carry it, I don't buy it. Daco says never go on Amazon or eBay after you've had a few beers. You never know what parcels will turn up and be like. That's with me and Etsy, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Biker Build says, I thought this was a computer build. Do you like how rigid and strict they are? Can you imagine if you went out with somebody like that for a beer and you're just talking and you start talking about business? They're like, hey, I thought we were just hanging out with a beer. It's always got to be someone like enforcing rules. Hey, we just keep it real here. We hope you enjoy hanging out with us. This is a hangout. This is how real work gets done, not that polished, edited crap all these other people do on YouTube. This is real, and if you can't deal with real, you're in the wrong place. The good news is you didn't pay anything for it. So
what was the consensus to pull it out, right? Yank it out.
Well, I'm still sort of the thought of, no matter what board we put in here, we're still going to have that cable management issue. This rear fan could go down through these bottom cable management holes here rather than running it across the top. Either way, it's going to be visible. They just didn't give us any consideration for that. And if we go ahead and put the CPU fan on with the board out, reroute those fan cables and put everything back in again, I think we're good to go. I see another potential problem though, and that's the 8-pin CPU power header, which is in this corner right here. There's I don't think it's going to fit through there. And there's no room for the cable here. I think it's got to go in from the bottom, and it's got to route across the top of the board.
So you're not sure it's
That
going to
stinks.
be long enough.
Not only am I not sure, so basically we have to come in from down here on that 8-pin CPU power cable and run all the way up here, but this fan cable's got to run down out the same hole. That's just going to look terrible. I mean, if this didn't have a glass panel on it, who cares? But, you know, we've got nice cable management holes here, and we could route in through here and run across the top. But all they had to do was give us a bigger hole, a bigger cutout here, and we could have got the CPU power cable and the fan cable up in here. And this cutout should have been wider. This should be another 2 inches wider. I'm not sure why they put the cutout so close to the edge. I'm not aware of any CPU socket that sits that close to the edge. So I don't know if the person who designed this has ever really built a computer before. I also don't understand why this piece is down here. This doesn't seem to serve any purpose whatsoever. It should be on the other side. So very, very strange that, you know, that glass goes through the entire side. So you're going to see all these cables. But if this piece that covers up the cables down here was on the other side, this is a solid metal piece. And there is zero room for cable management behind this backplate. This backplate is going to run right up against the back panel with no wiggle room. All your cables have to run here or here in this L cutout. That's it. And this piece would be even more roomy for cable management, that we could stick cables in here and hide them if it were on the other side. But it's a $50 RGB case, and again, this is what you should expect, these kind of thoughtless inconsiderations that don't accommodate for you and what your needs are as a builder. They accommodate for the factory and for the price point they're trying to reach. That's their primary concerns. Anything beyond that is inconsequential. We could return the case. I don't want to return the case. I think the case is going to look really sharp. I think this is the part many of you are failing to, you're missing the whole point of what I'm trying to explain to you, which is that things may not always appear as, they may not be as they appear. So you can have a case that looks really, really sharp, really eye-catching, right? There'll be people who will see this when it's done and not see this video, and they'll ask, where did you get that case? And then I'm going to say, you better watch this video first before you buy that case. I can already predict that's going to happen, but because you're here now and watching this, you're like, why don't you return it? Well, no, because when you see it when it's done, you're going to say, oh, well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that was a nice case. Yeah, that's why. Tarantula's Kill says, I think it's a beautiful build. Yeah, just very difficult to work on, and with some damage on it as well, you know. But again, we work around it. You cannot be successful at being picky and being cheap. You have to be one or the other. You know, if you're going to be extraordinarily demanding at McDonald's, you're probably not going to be satisfied at McDonald's, and McDonald's isn't going to be satisfied with you. It's meant to be cheap, quick, and easy. It's not meant to provide you your dietary requirements and explain everything to you in detail. And they're working at a pace that is to serve as many people as quickly as possible at the lowest price point on the menu that they can do. We're still earning a profit. And if you want to go somewhere where you're catered to, there's places like Morton's Steakhouse and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and you know, you're going to spend $100 a plate, but you're going to have a wonderful experience, likely. And if not, your complaint is going to be heard because they don't want you to leave and never come back. They make a lot of money from you. So whatever they can do to make your visit more pleasant, they're highly motivated to take care of you because the amount of financial loss that they would incur. McDonald's, on the other hand, could care less if you came back or not. There's 100 people behind you, and they're not making enough money from any of those 100 people individually to care if, or to even notice if any of them stop going to McDonald's. It's just a numbers game. You're just a number. So if you're trying to be buying the cheapest thing, but you're expecting the kind of service that comes with spending more money, you're going to be disappointed and probably angry at the whole experience. Michael Fogelstead said, you can be cheap and still get quality or better quality than this. How would you know? How would you know that another $50 case is better or worse than this one? Unless there are videos like this that showcase each make and each model. What you define as better, I would argue they're all going to be about the same. They're all going to be crappy in different, unique ways. If it's a $50 case, it will be a crappy case. I can guarantee it. It won't be crappy in the same way, but whether or not you think it's more or less crappy is up to the individual. The fact that this arrived damaged doesn't help the matter. But if you buy, for a few dollars more, you get into that $65 Corsair 200R. It's pretty rare I get those damaged. They're just packed better. The metal is stronger, it's thicker. And the CPU cutout is in the right place, and it's not a tight fit to the motherboard, and it's just $25 more. No, it's $15 more. $15. So to go from a crappy case to a decent case can be as little as spending an extra $15. So just think about that. KDMQ said, I have a $35 case and it's better than this, but that's just a fluke. You never know. Yeah, and I don't know how he's defining better. Yeah. Does it have all the RGB? Does it take a full ATX motherboard, or is it micro ATX only? Does it have a full glass panel, or is it plastic? There's other ways that your case is crappy. It's just crappy in different ways. And you personally have subjectively decided that your crappiness is better than this crappiness, but you've invested in it. And people who buy something will generally justify it where somebody else would go, I wouldn't buy that. They've invested. They don't want to hear what they invested in is junk. So they're sort of emotionally invested in it as well. So I don't really take self-proclaimed evaluations of people's buying cheap stuff, because emotionally people are generally not going to say, I made a bad decision. So this is a live video with the DVR mode enabled. So if you've missed any part of this where we describe all the problems with the case, you can just rewind this video back to see what you've missed right now. You can do that right now. I'm just looking through the chat. Cor Vogel says, the worse the case, the better the video. Maybe. Maybe not good to my hands. But, it's definitely something different.
Yeah, live and unscripted. I like it.
People are buying these cases. Who are these people? And did they were they aware, especially if you've never built a computer before, that this is not normal, that it shouldn't be this difficult and this limiting? Bofa D says, I would do a Cooler Master case for $50 to $60.
I think my birthday build we did about 2, if not 3 years ago, it was a Corsair 450D. I don't know whether they still make those, but again, it's mesh on the front, 2 fans, and the I/O up here, which I like. I forget what I paid for it. My budget for cases, Chad, is usually between, say, 100 and 200. I don't like going higher than 2. That seems a bit pricey for a case, but like Carrie said, I want a case that lasts, where I can upgrade, pull things out, and the case still is very easy to work in, and we may put that to the test here in March.
It would be a pleasure compared to working on this. Okay, so I think we'll just pull the board back out. We'll put the cooler on it, and we'll reroute those fan cables, and we should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just what comes with the territory.
Yeah.
What I saved in money, I'm well overspent in time. Ben Laird contributes £5. Hey, Ben, thank you. Catherine says you can spend $5 more and get a better case from Thermaltake. Thermaltake Versa H18. Yeah, that looks like a much better case. Although I've had some issues with Thermaltake cases being a little bit cheap too. Sometimes the bottoms don't have any vents for the power supplies. I can't tell if this one has a bottom. Yeah, it looks like it's got a bottom vent. But the reason I went with this one, this Thermaltake case appears to have no RGB. It has glass. It reminds me of an NZXT 510, H510. And the reason I went with this case is the way it's going to look. It kind of has the front, like robot's foot, the big Cougar case that we're building. And this was kind of reminiscent to that. And for $50 with the 3 RGB fans, I looked on YouTube and there were no videos on this case. So I said, well, I can be the first one to do a video on it. $50 isn't a big investment. And I'm a professional computer technician. I can work on anything that's any computer case, no matter the challenge. And if you see me struggling with it, and I'm a professional and experienced computer tech with more than 3 decades of experience, what are you going to do? Right? If I'm having that kind of trouble, you're at least going to have a heads up of what to expect that I'm encountering for the first time, and then I can advise you. So you're going to be much better prepared than me. Or you could say, to heck with that, I'm just not going to buy it, because that's just not worth it. Not for a few extra bucks when I can get something so much better. On the other hand, when you see it done and you see what it looks like, and you go, wow, that was only $50, you might think,
I'm anxious.
I got all the time in the world. For all I know, you got nothing else going on. You'll enjoy a challenge. Maybe you're the kind of person that buys a 6,000 piece puzzle. I don't have time for that. So to each his own, but just be prepared and know what to expect. That's my only goal with this video, is to show you in this industry, you get what you pay for. YouTube is paying me for my time. That's hilarious. Do you know what YouTube pays me for my time? Clearly somebody has no idea what it is to be a content creator, because that is one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard. YouTube is paying me for my time. They kicked a nickel to me. Like this whole video, apart from viewer contributions, I will make 1/4 of 1 penny from every viewer. We've got right now 541 viewers, which is going to be right around $3, which is what I'm going to make from this video today. Now, that's why those viewer contributions are so important to the channel. The amount of money YouTube pays is about $1 for every 1,000 views. So if you see a video with 12,000 views, that creator made about $12. If you see a video with 1 million views, that content creator,
3,000?
I think it's about 3,000 on 1 million.
Yeah.
So it's like a half a penny per view. I'm trying to remember how I did the math on this. And not all videos have the same value, like financial videos are worth more. But the amount of money from YouTube is like, well, you got paid for your time. How much was I paid for my time? $3? Oh, well then that makes it okay. I'll be on live video for the world to scrutinize me for $3. Can I punch you in the face for a nickel? Just because I'm paid doesn't mean I'm paid a fair wage. But again, the kindness of the people in the chat that contribute, that's more than compensating. So we appreciate you guys. I just like how someone comes in here for free and thinks I'm getting paid because they came in here for free. If you're not paying anything, I don't know why you think I'm making anything. That's the most bizarre, immature, illogical. It's frustrating. I don't see you doing it. All right. Went off on a little tangent.
Little tangent.
Little. I had to divert for a minute.
Yeah.
Because they spent all that money for this entertainment. that I'm getting rich off of, as you can tell from my fancy digs. 1 million views is 5,000 up. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. He's saying at half a penny. Oh, I see. At half a penny, 1 million. So it's not half a penny. It's, I think I was right. It's a quarter of a penny.
Quarter of a penny.
Yeah. It's about $3,000 for 1 million views on my channel. But if my channel was on a different subject, if my channel was financial investment advice, that could be 3 times the amount. So not all videos are worth the same. Ed says, how about breaking this video up into a series of live 10-minute videos? Would you get $3 each? Yeah. So YouTube isn't basing it on the video itself. It's basing how many watched minutes you have. So if you have a 3-hour video, but the average watch time is 7 minutes, then that's what you're paid for, the 7 minutes that people are watching. So the longer you keep eyeballs glued to you, the more YouTube likes you, the more the algorithm will recommend you and suggest you to other viewers. Anything that keeps viewers glued and attached is what YouTube wants. So view numbers themselves don't mean anything. If your video has 30,000 views, but it's a 6-hour video with an average watch time of 12 minutes, you're just not going to make much money on that. So the numbers I give you are just general numbers, and they're based on me doing this since 2008. And I can tell you the payment's getting less and less every year. What YouTube is paying today is less than I was making 3 years ago. But there's more content now. There's more content creators, and it's easier to get lost in the crowd. It's harder for people to find you. And with all those people competing, everybody's splitting the same pool of money. JH says, cat videos probably do best. Yes, the cat tricks. Yeah, it's like the Matrix, but with cats. So usually, the way YouTube content creators make money isn't through YouTube, but through sponsorships. You know, David Dobrik was doing stuff with SeatGeek and a couple of credit cards. And the amount of money David Dobrik was making, I think he said he was making $2,000 a month from YouTube and $200,000 a month from sponsorships. Or you take a guy like Logan Paul or Jake Paul. I get them confused. It's Jake. All of Jake's money comes from his boxing events, his singing, and he uses YouTube as a free advertising venue to promote his merch and his boxing and singing stuff. And he breaks in millions of dollars. But it's not from YouTube. YouTube's a piece that allows him to promote it for free. But it's the merchandising, and I'm trying to not do that. I'm trying to not become, you know, Slick Willie over here, trying to offload some snake oil. And so integrity doesn't pay well. I was at Go-Go's documentary when the Go-Go's were like this punk band, 1980s band called the Go-Go's, and the one girl, they had an offer from the recording industry, and they wanted them to slow the music down. Well, if you take punk and you slow it down, you end up with pop. And the girl recognized that, and the girl in the band, and she said, this isn't what we do. This isn't our sound. I won't do it. And she left the band. So the band went on to make millions of dollars. And do you know who this girl is that left the band? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who Belinda Carlisle is, perhaps. You know who Jane Whiteland is, but we don't necessarily know who this person was with the integrity who left the band, while the others made millions of dollars in fame and fortune. So, I'm screwed. Barry Klein contributes $10. He says, good afternoon, tech buskers. Tossing some cash into your guitar computer case. Mitch, hope your ribs are healing well. If I was working on their case, there'd be a language issue.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your thoughts. Look, see, this one, no problem. You know, this one, okay. A little higher every day.
Well, it's a good thing you don't take the bus.
Yeah.
You'd have to sit on the one side to pull the cord.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'm going to take the board out of here.
Okay, should we lay it flat so you can zip? Here we go. Out you go. And good riddance.
What's for dinner, Mitch? We like to go to dinner after a show.
Yep. As long as it's not raining.
I got umbrellas now. I'm prepared.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That won't happen again.
Yeah. But Chad, I must tell you, I have great thanks for Uncle Kerry for giving me that ugly sweater because that did cushion when I lost my footing and went down. That Christmas sweater.
So that Christmas sweater was sent to me from the folks over at Be Quiet last year.
Yeah.
And it was way too big for me. I don't wear a large.
It was actually extra large.
Was it extra large?
Yeah.
So it's probably big on you.
Yep. But I'm grateful because it was, wearing it Christmas Eve show, it was very hot here under the lights, very warm, but now I'm grateful because it did cushion the blow, so.
Did I get them all? I'll tell you what, I'm going to take this fan out too because it's just too much of a struggle. Thank you. There's one other screw that in this corner I'm struggling to get out. Got it. Magnetized screwdriver, folks. That's the secret sauce building a computer.
See how much easier.
Yeah, leave that out. Set this down over here. And then we can put this back up on its feet for now, just to show everybody what it looks like.
Okay.
And then this fan cable has got to route out through that side.
And then did you say, is it this hole where the CPU power has to come through here?
It can't.
It won't fit?
Yeah, and it's going to be right at the back of the board, and it'll pinch that cable. That's a thick cable, the one Mitch is talking about. It's one of these thick cables.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to come in from the bottom, and then we have to bring it up, which is going to look awful. I don't know what else to do.
Well, now it's going to be different with the other motherboard too, so.
I wasn't going to change the motherboard.
Oh, that's right, yeah, we're going to.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's set the other board in just to look at
okay.
it. Let's see if that CPU aligns.
Good thought.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to put the I/O shield in for right now. Go ahead and lay that flat if you would. Let's just take a look. Well, it's a much easier fit. Can I see the red driver? And my glasses?
You want a close-up?
No, not yet. Because I'm just going to put one screw in it. It's too far away, though.
Look how little tiny that board is.
Isn't it cute? Let's go ahead and pick that up. See what that looks like. So from this side, it's a much better fit. And then from this side, that lines up properly.
So you could use this cooler if you wanted to, correct? Yeah.
I could, but we still have the same problem with that 8-pin CPU power cable. And I still have to figure out a way to mount a 2.5-inch solid state drive in here somewhere. I know there's a space for one. I just don't know where it is. It's not obvious. I know the 3.5-inch drive mounts here. 2.5-inch drive mounts somewhere else. Well, that would be an easier installation, but it's going to look terrible. The whole point of the case is about how it looks, and I think some of you in the chat room aren't getting that. You can't just compare a case to a case, price for price, unless we consider the aesthetics that are involved. And it's the aesthetics of this case that's selling it, not its build quality. And if you want to compare it with a better built quality case, then you have to then also compare the aesthetics of the better built quality case and then compare the prices. You know, to get this kind of RGB onto a nicer case, you're looking over $100, more than twice the cost of this case.
Let's do it the hard way.
I think we're better off doing it the hard way. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be better. Either way, we're going to see some cabling. I don't know what else to do with that 8-pin CPU power cable. They've given us absolutely no consideration for that whatsoever. And it's disappointing because it's not as though not all motherboards have it. Every motherboard's got that, and it's had been that way for probably 20 years. So it's disheartening. I feel like someone dug this case out of the past. Only we didn't have RGB in the past. But everything about it is screaming 1990s at me right now. So that's just really, really disappointing. Now, if I was buying something, you know, like this Altair 8800 or something, it's an antique. Well, it's a replica of an antique. This feels like an antique. This feels like I am working on something that was never supposed to have these kind of components in it. Like an 8-pin CPU power cable. Like this was invented before motherboards started using those 20 years ago. Mark Jackson says it's an easy fix. You can cut a bigger hole. This is sort of true, sort of not true. Because if you look back here, if that hole back here is any bigger, you're going to separate the motherboard tray from the case, and the motherboard tray won't be secure anymore. There's also nowhere to route the cable. So even if the hole were to be, say, behind this piece here, which is riveted, you can't remove it, you still can't get the cable behind the motherboard. The motherboard sits too high up. The motherboard would have to be lowered. So you really, it's not just cutting another hole. It's just not that simple. You'd have to remove the rivets, and you'd have to weld an extra inch of metal onto each side and weld that completely, and then put the top back on it, and then readjust the motherboard tray holes and retap those. And then this hole is no longer going to align, so you're going to have to cut this bigger. I mean, you might as well just fabricate a whole new case for as much work as that, and it's going to look terrible. And if the whole purpose behind buying the case was how it looks, you've now defeated the whole point of it. So things, you know, the least people know, the more oversimplified their ideas are. They look at something with such a simple perspective that they don't take the time to consider the consequences of what they're saying. And this is why I make my videos, to show people you cannot sit here and oversimplify solutions. And if you had enough experience at this, you'd realize that. And I'm hoping that you can learn from my experience that oversimplifying solutions is, in most cases, extremely unprofessional, and is a quality of work that I wouldn't associate myself with. You know, the key is you spend the money to get the right parts so you don't deal with situations like this. You shouldn't buy something new that immediately requires you to start fabricating it.
So, Chad, learn from our pain, both mentally and physically.
That's right. You want something to drink?
No. Yeah, water, I guess. You got that nice Fiji, very hoi polloi.
The vodka water?
No. Ooh, that's the good stuff there, Chad. Give them a free plug. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what they need because they're so poor.
Yeah.
All right, new Gatorade for me.
Yeah, we take the board out. We take this. We'll set the case down, and we'll figure out the cooler.
Ross Bittner contributes $5. He says, I'm rooting for you, Kerry. The level of satisfaction you'll get when you make it all work will be astronomical. He's got a point.
Yeah.
It is going to look good.
Yeah.
And when I say hot dog build, you're going to understand. Thank you, Ross. All right. Here we go again.
Take 3 for me.
Marty Yoel says, contributes $10. He says, I like this case, bro. It'll look great after it's finished. Well, I think it is going to look great,
Yeah.
except for that stupid cabling. Uh-oh. Just dropped a screw. Magnet caught it when it was on the table. So what did you do today? Put a motherboard in a case 17 times? All right, let's take a look at this cooler. Now this is a Cooler Master i71C, and I think it's going to look great on this case.
Because I have very old eyes. Is that thermal compound on there that needs to be cleaned? It has a gray. I can't really read what CP can
Well,
or is that clean?
It's not clean. Anytime these boards have been sitting, certainly dust will have landed on it. And I probably didn't clean it because dust is going to land. Like I would have used a paper towel to wipe it off, but I probably didn't fully clean it knowing that I'm going to have to clean it again anyway. So you just get the bulk of it off with a paper towel, and then when you're ready to install it, then we'll clean it properly. That's generally my pattern. Now this already has thermal compound applied on the bottom, and that's going to sit on there like so. We've got one cable for the fan power to spin the fan, and one cable for the RGB, which I think is ARGB. Yeah. And then we've got our bracket that we need. And this is an Intel only CPU fan, it appears. What is this? I don't know what this is.
We got a.
Oh, if you don't have ARGB on your motherboard, this is a little connector or an adapter that you can push buttons on to force it to cycle through the colors and patterns. But this board does have an ARGB connector, so we should not need this. AC's Drafting contributes $50. He says, hey, Kerry, probably a stupid question, but this has been annoying me. My mouse seems to like to double click at times when I only click it once. Any ideas, or should I throw it in the dumpster and try new? It's a Logitech G602. Go in the control panel under the mouse settings and you can adjust your double click speed there. And if you've slowed down your double click speed and it's still double clicking, then it's a bad mouse. Thank you for the contribution, AC. This is pretty cool that they give you some double-sided sticky tape so you don't have to hold it with one hand while you secure it with the other hand. So in theory, which by the way makes this one more reason I'm not gonna like having to work on this if I have to take this apart. And I could probably just leave that. I probably don't have to stick it, I could probably just leave it just like that. That will make taking it apart a little less frustrating. But that should sit right in there one way or the other. It's got to go this way. See the cutout?
Ah, yeah, with the notch.
See how there's 2 screws and then one down here. So I initially had it on the other way. And you want to make sure you get that on the correct way, or it may not sit flush and then therefore won't cool as well. And I will, let's go ahead and clean the CPU off now, and then we can go ahead and put the fan on. And to screw this down, there's little holes cut into the shroud so that a screwdriver can fit right through that little hole to get to the screw.
Pretty clean. Not too much schmutz.
That's going to be the advertising tag they're going to use.
Yeah. Beautiful. Still getting somehow.
Yeah, keep going. As long as it keeps coming out dark, I'd say keep scrubbing. Concordia's Technology with $5 says, after paying Mitch, Carrie is actually paying us to watch this stream. LOL, here's another $5, and thank you for all you do for us to learn.
2 chicken wings. All right.
Well, again, it's the contributions that come in from the live chat that enable me to pay Mitch. Otherwise, he'd have quit years ago. At least I would have if I were him.
Just waiting for that international travel to open up. And then I'm off to see what I can see in the world without wearing a mask. All right. I'm still getting schmutz. How do you like that? This will be it, though. I guarantee it.
Yeah, they're definitely coming out cleaner now. That was pretty dirty.
Ah, yes.
7 Biker Boy wants to know, should thermal compound be replaced on a CPU and GPU after an 8-year build? Only if you're having problems that you're trying to resolve. Otherwise, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Pretty good.
Because, yeah, we're good. Yeah, when you take a computer that you start taking it apart when there's nothing wrong with it, you may end up creating a problem you didn't have before. So I don't think it's worth it. Risk reward there doesn't add up for me.
No bending
Now,
over.
we already, yeah, you can set that down and I'll take care of it. This little plastic cover is on here to protect the thermal compound that's pre-applied here, so we don't apply any to the CPU. And this can go on any direction. I want to have it so the cables are going to come out where they're going to plug in.
CPU fan?
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to go... Where's our RGB header on here? I think it's down at the bottom.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah. There's
Okay.
one here. There's another one here. I'm not quite sure what the difference between those two are. One's a 4-pin RGB and one's a 3-pin ARGB. I think one's 12 volts and one's 5 volts. Interesting. I don't know which one this is. This is 12 or 5. It says the warranty is void if I remove this sticker.
Kind of like on a mattress. Well, so much for that. All
Oh,
right.
you sleep on a mattress now,
Yeah.
Mr. Fancy Pants? Oh, Mr. Fancy sleeps on a mattress. Cardboard box, not good enough for you anymore.
King size bed.
Get used to that YouTube money.
A canopy. Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to run right into our RAM, isn't it?
Not if you put them in these two.
Can I see the yellow handled driver?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it'd be the black handle, the GIS driver.
JIS.
This isn't seating very well.
Maybe that tape. You're off. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that before. You're not the first person to notice that.
There you go. Yeah. You'll notice I didn't say way off. Just off.
Well, you haven't eaten yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly going to be a tight fit. Carrie, what are some of the dumbest PC builds you've ever done? Oh, I think I've got a new winner.
Didn't want a dead stop?
No, it's got like a little washer that seems to be sitting in the space between the, like it's meant to meet up with something there. Pretty unusual. Still, better than a stick in the eye, that's what I say. I guess we could put the RAM in it while we've got it out too.
Okay.
Let's see, this is our ARGB. Is this 12 volts or is it 5 volts? I don't know. It's probably gonna
Individually wrapped.
be. Yeah, how they packaged that was pretty different, isn't it?
Beautiful.
How do I want to run this cable? They didn't give us any documentation with this at all.
I think this is hermetically sealed. Maybe not. Oh,
Hermetically sealed?
That's it.
Well, that's 12 volts. It's probably not 12 volts. It's probably 5. I should probably put it on the 5 volt one first, just to be sure. Yeah. I just don't know.
This is really going to be a smoke test. Okay.
Yeah, this is that Guile, you know, it says it's for Ryzen. It's got the heat shields on it. If you're looking for some inexpensive RAM, this is pretty good. Unlike other inexpensive things, I don't think you're going to be paying the price with your time. I think this is going to work out quite well.
They'll put that on the review. This is pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, I don't know which RAM sockets we're supposed to be in. I'm just kind of curious if it's going to run up against the heatsink. Yeah, it is. So I want to keep it away from the CPU fan. Thank you.
Got some more contributions coming in.
Boy, that cabling is just going to look terrible. Let's see. Don Papito contributes 55 Norwegian krona. He says, thanks for the office links, but Hyadak only has 2016 and 2019. Keep up with the good videos. Hyadak also has 2021. It's not in that same area. You have to, if you go to Google and type in HEIDOC space Office 2021 download, it's a website that Hyadak has with links you have to click on for which language you want and which version. So I thought the same thing. I don't know why they've separated it out, but it is there. And Don Papito again with 219 Norwegian krona. That's a very generous contribution. Thank you for that. XRod666 with $5 says, I've got a Cooler Master Case H500, and that thing was amazing to work in. The case probably would not be your cup of tea, though. Rick Rubicet with €5 says, Happy New Year and all the best wishes. Happy to finally catch a live stream again, and I hope to catch more this year. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. Let's put this board back in and see if we can get it right. Second time. I guess we'll just plug it in and get it working, and I'll worry about making it cable management look pretty later. This should be easier with this fan out. Much easier. Glasses, please. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You're a little too excited about that, Mitch.
More. Oh, yeah. Kool-Aid. All right.
I'll have what he's having.
Yeah.
Yikes, that didn't sound good. That's better. Why am I doing this, Mitch? If this was in a 200R, we'd have been done an hour ago.
Well, this is now build it and forget it.
Yeah, except one day it'll come back
Yeah.
for something. Like a bean burrito. It's gonna haunt you.
Yeah. You know, my favorite restaurant, Taco Bell,
What?
that I used to go to at least.
No one's ever put those words in that order before.
That I used to go twice a week. Now, the dine-in is closed. It's drive-through only.
There's a lot of them because they don't
Yeah,
have any
yeah.
staff.
I'm like,
Two of the
what-
Oregano's restaurants
And
shut
I
down
lo-
because they don't have any staff.
And I love sitting down and eating. I don't want to eat in my car. So it's like, by the time I get it
Taco
home, it's
Bell isn't
cold.
exactly fine dining. Mitch.
Well, you order it by the pound. It's all the same.
Order it by the pound.
Give me a half pound
Just like you're at the deli.
of what? Yeah, anything. It all tastes the same. All right.
Yeah, it's all Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's their slogan. Taco Bell. It all tastes the same.
Didn't they have a dog talking about how good it was?
Yeah.
You can't have Taco Bell. Because you know how fussy dogs are.
Yeah.
Eaters.
Now, where are you going to route that CPU?
Well, in
Let's
theory, this big
Okay.
24 pin can go out there,
And
and,
then-
you can feed it back into me right
Here?
at the top here.
I haven't got enough slacky.
What?
Oh, now I do, yeah.
There we go. All right, there's a cable management hole that works. So they did something right. Okay.
I didn't hear the click.
I didn't either, but it's on there. How did this fall off, or did I not put it on? Can I see the glasses again, please? It's very dark in here.
Now what have you done?
Oh, time will tell. Boy, that's a real bear to get at. Huh.
Need a little light, you got it?
It's not really a light issue, it's
Dexterity.
it's a tight spot here.
I liked it when he used to use the big forceps. That was kind of cool.
Well, they're in the drawer, I think I can.
Take it, G.
Okay, so I'm gonna just leave the cables dangling for now.
Okay.
Now this 8-pin CPU header, the problem we're gonna have here, it's interesting how they gave us 2 of those. It's a nice feature, because some boards do have more than an 8-pin. But if we were to route this around, and there's no way to come in though. Can I see the flashlight or that orange light? Yeah. Let's see here. It's going to put us right up
Aziz.
against the fan. Yeah, that gets us right up against the fan. That is not pretty. This fan's in the way. I'm going to try and force it around the fan, but it's, oh boy.
Did you get it? I heard a click.
Yeah, I got it, but it's really not happy. All right, then I will need the, is this cable going to be long enough? Phew, it's going to have to be, huh? Okay, let me see the red driver, please. Thank you.
Lovely Molex. We're in a time machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how far does this?
Where'd you park the DeLorean?
Yeah. How far does this have to go to plug in?
Well, it's got to go back here.
Okay, back here with the rest of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all going to plug into each other.
Okay, that it can do, yeah.
Okay, front port umbilicals and then test fire.
True smoke test. How is everybody's Friday going, chat?
Is it a Friday? It's feeling like a Monday right now.
Yeah.
This is not my best day. Is it almost over? Is this going to end soon?
I love me Fridays.
How much am I getting paid for this?
I love Fridays.
Whose idea
not
was
working
this?
with Carrie, but just Friday. Friday.
I don't like working with Carrie either.
Yeah.
Guy's a jerk. Never gives me a day off. He makes me work on crap. Doesn't pay me worth beans. Power LED, white and green. Which one's positive? Looks like the green one is positive.
I was about to say green, yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. Money, yeah.
Come on now. Where's the rest of my cables, though? What's this one? HDD LED. I should probably put that one on first. Do we not have a reset? I don't think this case has a reset. No reset for you. Okay, this other power one,
All right.
this has to plug in with the fans. They all plug in together.
Got it.
Yeah, that's it.
Just like Christmas lights.
Just this
Well, yeah.
like old school Christmas,
Christmas
lights. You're
lights.
showing your age.
It's, yeah. Oh, let's see. Now you're going for two. Let's see that.
Can I see the flashlight?
Let's see that dexterity.
Oh, I may not need it. Hold on. No, I'm good. That's it. Let's fire it up. And then let's take it outside and kill it.
How far away is the shooting range? Yeah. About
I
30
don't know,
minutes.
but it'll
yeah.
be worth it.
Yeah. I got to get video of that though. Nice slow mo. Boom, boom.
Yeah, if we can get a generator out
Yeah,
there to
yeah.
have it lit up when we're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Yeah. All right, let's plug it in and turn it on and
Step back. All right.
never do this again. The next time I have an idea like this, just kick me right in the nuts. Say, you'll thank me for this later. Because I'm curled up in a ball on the floor.
Yeah. We've got that on tape. All right, you heard.
Trust me.
Yeah. All three of them.
I would
Okay.
have preferred that to what this is. I don't know why I do this
Okay.
to myself. I must be a masochist.
Okay.
Okay.
You got the front umbilicals? I'd like to see if they work.
Yeah.
With a doodad there.
Well, I hooked up one of them. I didn't
Okay.
hook up the USB 2. I didn't see it.
Okay. So
Now
like,
that you mentioned it, I'll go looking for it.
Okay. It will work on the 3 though, right? You got that one plugged in.
Yeah, the 3 is plugged in, not the 2.
Okay.
You can have the mouse. Here's the dongle.
It's a dongle.
And then let's see, where is the... That's not it. That's not it. What's this right here? Ah. Why are there 2 USB 2s? Oh, one's audio.
Oh.
That's weird. Okay, well, I did forget all about the audio header. So the audio header is going to go all the way over here in this corner. And then the USB 2, I guess you're going to have to pull these cables apart. I don't know why they're so stuck together. That's got to go right here. So now both USBs are hooked up. Yeah, that is one hell of a cable management job there. Where's Photo Ray? He's like, I quit. I'm done. All right, you want to try it?
Very exciting. Meh.
Hold on, these cables are giving me grief, knocking stuff off the table. I'm gonna move all this over here. Okay, Mitch, this is it, man. This is what it amounts to. This is what it all comes to. Oh, I thought you plugged all these in together.
Oh.
You said I could do that, and then you didn't do it.
Oh, I didn't know that you wanted
Yeah, just like Christmas tree lights.
lightsy. All right.
Yeah, I want to do the whole thing, man.
Okay.
Go big or go home, that's what I'm saying. No, wait, don't go home.
Yeah. True smoke test city. All right.
So 1990s. So stupid. You see what I'm doing here?
4 Molexes. All right.
Oh, and we have to give it power too. So we have to take a Molex connector off the power supply. Run that out of here.
Do I have slack?
Yeah.
That's it? Oh, no, you got plenty. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. All right, you ready for this?
I'm palpitating.
Do you have the fire extinguisher close by? That's it, man. I mean, if that's not an old school, boy, that's just really stupid. All right, here we go. Is power on the power supply?
Well, you want to switch over to the right camera, to see it.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
I want to see it light up on the big camera
Okay.
here.
Is what? Oh, I can turn the power on.
Yeah.
Steady. Steady now. Ah. Ooh. Got a nice one on the rear here. Fan lit up.
Did you just say I have a nice one on my rear?
No. 2 on the top.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll cut the studio lights, Mitch, so we can really appreciate how beautiful this ugly case is.
Pretty for 55 beans or 50.
$49.99.
$49.99
Order yours today. You want to grab the close-up camera?
Look at all that octopus of cables. Oh.
What's this button do?
Changes the lights. Okay.
Let me see if we can go to the wireless camera. We can do a little close-up here.
Here. Camera 3.
Still linking. We'll give it a second to link up. AC's drafting with a $20 contribution. Says, thanks, Carrie, Mitch, and chat. My mouse is working as it should. No words can express my happiness. I think they just did.
Yeah.
Great channel and proud to be a part of it. Cheers. Well, I'm glad we could help. All right, you're good to go. Go ahead and bring the wireless camera in here.
Nice.
Press the button.
Change it. Okay.
Cool. Again?
Not feeling it. Likey. I likey. Yeah. Okay. Down. One was down, one was up. That's pretty snuffy. Big word there. Ooh, I like that. That's okay.
I'm surprised the brightness does seem pretty equal across the 3 bars. I think we just did a full rotation.
Yeah.
Oh, no, maybe not. No, it's just different colors.
Colors solid, yeah. That one I gotta like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize the CPU fan was going to be that well lit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to have a glass panel, which is why I'm kind of upset about the lack of cable management on this.
Yeah.
Which one did you like?
I like the one, even that one's pretty cool, yeah. The red reminded me of Knight Rider. Yeah, I'll give you that.
If I hold the button in, it turns it off.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a power light. If you go up to my hand here, you'll see the reflection of the power light up here.
Okay.
It's that little pin light, but it's pretty bright.
Yeah.
And then I'm hitting this button right here to cycle the colors, and it's not affecting the fans inside of the case, I guess. They're just continuing to be the same. This button only seems to affect the front.
The fronts, yep.
It's, you know, the fans are full speed. They're not too loud. Oh, do we have a fan not spinning? What's up with that?
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah. You better take a look-see.
I hooked up 4 connectors,
I don't believe you. All right.
and the LEDs are on.
Got a cable on the way?
Yeah, that's the problem with the cable
Okay.
management, right? So, you know, I told you it's going to look good. This is the very defining version of a hot dog build, where you look at it, you go, wow, that's just jaw-droppingly beautiful, right? But it is a nightmare to work on. And I don't know how we're going to hide these cables, Photo Ray. See what I did there? Oh, it's not putting off any heat. What are you talking about? Can you film the top of the case? Get up here.
Very nice.
Thank you.
But they're blowing out.
Yes.
You're just a big kid. Look at the pretty lights.
I like to push buttons and turn knobs. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay.
It's a mood computer. When it's red, leave me alone.
Okay.
With that button, you really have to push it in pretty hard. Yeah, I think it's the better that way. Hey, did it boot? Now that we're just playing with the lights,
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
it boot?
boot.
Let me go over to,
Wrong keyboard.
oh, I guess I don't have an operating system on it.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
So let's see, where's our Windows 10? Windows 10. Are you still filming over there? Let's put Windows 10 back here.
That's cool. It looks better in the back.
I'll say the same thing about you. All right, let's see. Go better this way. And editing key.
Pressing key.
No, I'm gonna have to reboot. Let's see if it reboots into.
And this does not have a reboot?
It doesn't have a reset button, no.
What's this button here?
There's no button there.
You think? Can
I know
press
for,
it?
yeah.
Oh, can I press it?
You probably push a hole right through it.
No.
Is it gonna start the Windows 10 installation? Let's see. Yeah. So back over to that wireless cam, what Mitch is talking about, right up here, if you bring the camera over here, Mitch thought this was a button,
And it's not.
but it's just a little see-through piece of plastic, so whatever these lights are
Lights
doing
are-
reflects up
looks
here
through.
as part of the
Okay.
RGB. Okay, we can turn the wireless camera off. We're good with that for a while.
Joe says install Linux, laugh out loud. I did it once on an old laptop that a buddy gave me, and I kind of liked it, but meh. There we go.
Studio's dark.
Yeah, I look much better in this.
Just like
I look much better in this color. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay, now let's ask people again. Who would buy this case? I'm curious. We had a vast majority of no's.
No's.
I think we're going to have more yeses
Yeses.
now.
$49.95.
$49.99.
What will it take to put you in this case today? I don't know.
How drunk do we have to get you? Where is the power header for the flux capacitor?
Okay.
I couldn't afford that add-on. I'm just looking through the comments to see if there's any. Michael in Maryland says, I sent you an Amazon gift card. Right on. Thanks, Michael.
Nobody's saying, I'll buy that for
Michael,
$1.
Michael Tain says, I feel like I'm on a game show with all these lights. Reminds him of Knight Rider, he says.
You sure this isn't a black light? Because it's really making my smile define.
Is it?
Jeez. Now that's Pepsodent White there, chat.
Photo Ray wants to know if he can just cover everything with black duct tape and call it good. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Is there any intake fan in the front? No. It's, nature creates a vacuum. Intake fans are unnecessary because the output fans are going to automatically draw air in as required. So you want to force air in. I guess if you're putting a graphics card in, you would want to do that. And I don't know that there's any room for one, to be honest. There doesn't seem to be any accommodation for that as an option. It looks like the front area just has room for a 3.5-inch hard drive, best I can tell.
Steve says the lava lamp of computers. That's kind of interesting. It's pretty cool looking.
Michael Fogelson said, you know that piece you said you wanted to cut out earlier in the stream, that covering up the cables on the power supply on the wrong side? That's the 2.5-inch SSD mount. Well, I mean, if it has a purpose, at least it's got a purpose, but that's really weird. Barry Klein says, I'd rather eat glass than have that case in my office.
Well, there you go. All right.
G-Man says, when you had it on the solid green colors, it looks like a Monster Energy drink logo. Because that's what Monster Energy drink needs, is more advertising and attention.
It's pretty loud.
Is it? I mean, it'd be a nice white noise machine to sleep to. Assuming you could sleep, because those RGB fans do not turn off. You can't even turn off the RGB on them. You can only turn off the RGB on the face of it. This switch is only controlling
The front.
the front. It's not controlling the fans at all. This button's like a reset switch. It's like really hard to press. Wish there were more options.
You would. I think 8 or 9's good enough.
Newegg's shows you can put two 120 millimeter fans on the front. Okay, well, I mean, if you can, it's not obvious to me where they're going to go because I don't see any room for them at all. So no idea how that works, but I wouldn't put fans on the front of it. Let's see, we can continue with our install here. That's a $320 processor, by the way. The
Really?
8700 currently on Amazon is $320.
Huh.
So this is not a slow or cheap machine internally by any standard.
Sucker. Oh no.
Sucker. It's not an HP.
Pigeon. Or the password. Everything off but location.
All right, what do you think? Should we turn the lights back on? Had enough of this?
Yeah.
That was fun. Maybe next time you can hit me in the head with a brick.
I like that first one better. Kicking you.
Kick me in the nuts. I'll Rochambeau you. Is these lights?
Quick, name the movie.
So that's our build. It's all boilerplate from here for Windows updates, cable management to whatever can be done. We'll try to route as much of it in the back here where we can. In this little section right here, there's like this whole section is recessed, and then the bottom is recessed. And I never want to do that again. Never again. Now see all those little flaws? You don't notice the flaws anymore, do you? They don't stand out. With everything in its place, the I/O shield's not quite right. It's kind of cattywampus. The dents you don't really see anymore. But that's just a lot of, what's the word? Rigmarole? Finagling? A lot of finagling.
Finessing.
Well, it's not a finesse. It's more of a finagle.
Yeah.
It's the finagle case.
And this computer will be on sale in the lobby as you leave the theater.
Right next to the Oscar Mayer display.
Yeah. The hot dog build.
Mark FX12 said this is the longest audition Mitch has ever endured. Yeah, but he got to keep his pants on this time. So.
Yeah. Cars were driving by yesterday and we had a crane and things like that, and people would kind of slow down and go, what are you filming? And for once I kind of hit some guy, oh, porno. They're like, but everyone has their clothes on. I'm like, well, you got to have an establishing shot. They're like,
We got to tell a story here.
first, and they're like, oh, okay, good luck.
Have you ever thought to say, none of your business? You're interrupting our production
your
here.
beeswax. Move along, nothing to see here. Well, they see the lights and they see
Yeah.
the.
And right now we're filming you.
Yeah, so.
They walk right up to the camera. Don't put me on camera. So you walked up to the camera to tell you not to put you on the camera.
I will tell you that drone flying next to me, though, those things are loud.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are loud. I mean, it was...
Yeah, they'll be replacing the audio.
Yeah,
in that show.
four big propeller. It's for silent, and there'll be music over that, but it's just like, whew, I've forgotten how loud those things can, the guy doing it up and down for beautiful shots. And
Carrie, what's the starting bid? Never mind, I just remembered it's an MSI motherboard. They're not bad. He had some bad luck
Yeah,
with MSI,
okay.
so he's not gonna, Catherine says, no, it's not. No, Catherine, he's right, you're wrong. Catherine's confused the smaller boards we have over there, the little Z97 boards or H97 boards. Apparently she got disoriented with the selection of parts we had during today's build. So she's correcting somebody that isn't wrong. And that's not a Z97, that's like an H, what was it, an H97? I think it was an H97. Yeah. H97. Yeah. Yeah, that's the MSI mortar board that we put in there.
is Mitch a superstar in real life? No, I am a actor.
He's a superstar.
I'm just slopping over with talent.
We call it talent.
Yeah, slopping over. All right.
And let's see, looking back to the comments. Can that case take a full ATX board? Paul 1961 wants to know. No, it is a micro ATX or mini ITX only.
Every time we film the ice cream man. And I'm not talking about the Van Halen song. All right.
John Tam said they put different fans in it. Yeah, but again, you're going to spend more for the fans than what the case cost. And then if you're going to do that, you should have put that money towards a nicer case, and it would have cost you less than changing the fans out to just get the right case to begin with.
$200. Get them while they're hot, because they're gone and quick.
All right, any final questions? We're going to wrap this one up a little early. We usually go till 5. It's about 10 minutes till 4. So we'll take whatever question you've got in the next 10, 20 minutes, if you have any, and we'll do our best to answer your questions. Steve Mercure says, Uncle Kerry, you have at least one email from a channel fan who has interest in acquiring this computer. Yes, please buy it from me. Please?
You didn't say pretty, please.
Pretty please? The cream on top.
On top. And a Mascazino cherry.
What shirt you got on today? He's talking about your shirts.
Oh.
Oh, it says Toto on it. Have we seen that one before?
Yeah.
Have we cycled through all 743 of them?
All 44 of them.
seems like
I've got
740.
one that has a beautiful thing, but it doesn't say Toto on it, but it's a picture of their Kingdom of Desire that I have not worn here. So
Kingdom of Desire.
shirt. So I
Sounds like a nice place.
Yeah. 44 shirts, Chad, soon to be probably 46 when I go see the band Toto February 28th, well, in Tucson, Arizona. I'm sure they'll have merch, swag, and so I'll have to pick up a couple more. I'm disappointed that, with what's happening in the world, that there's no meet and greet, because I certainly would have paid for a meet and greet to see the boys again, and they go, oh, not Mitch from Phoenix again. But boys, I'm your biggest fans. Mm-mm.
John Williams says, thanks for the live stream and hope you get well soon, Mitch.
Yep, every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. I forget what movie is that from.
Taco said, have you ever thought about designing your own ultimate PC case? I've talked to a couple of PC manufacturers. They're not interested. To do it myself, it's about $200,000 because you have to order
Dies and casts.
and you have to
all
pay
that.
for
Yeah.
all of the trial cases have to
pieces.
come out and be shipped to you, and you've got to work through the issues and refine it. And then finally, when you do it, there's like a minimum order of, I don't know, 2,000 or you know, the more you order, the cheaper they get. And then you've got the distribution cost to get it, you know, over here. And then you've got to store them somewhere until they're sold. So yeah, it's about $200K. So you can sell a bunch of $65 cases. Last I checked, anyway.
That would be at least 4 Teslas.
Joe says, Carrie, I've got an Asus motherboard. It's an ROG Strix X470 with a Ryzen 2700X with Windows 10 Pro. And I missed a bunch of BIOS updates. If I apply those updates, will it mess with Windows 10 in UEFI mode? Shouldn't. You usually only have to apply the latest BIOS update. Not all of them, just whatever the latest one is. With some Ryzen boards, it'll tell you if you need a certain minimum BIOS prior to the latest one. And then whatever that minimum one is, if that requires a minimum, it'll specify, but you still won't have to do all of them.
You can jump.
Yeah. What's better, Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 7? Each number that's bigger is a better chip in the sense that it has more threads, more cores, and better performance. So it's going to be aligned with the price. Are you selling this PC as a parts buy? I don't know what a parts buy is. It'll be sold as a complete working computer with cable management and everything, as good as it can be.
Autographed by Uncle Kerry, if you
Sure.
wish. If you wish. I don't, but if you wish.
Mitch, are you really Toto's biggest fan? That's what Ryan wants to know.
Indubitably.
You're the only fan.
Yeah. Yeah, now whenever I want to see him in concert, I call him up and I come over and play in my garage. And I'm on the lighting crew. It's me and the headlights of my car. Off, on, off, on.
Savvy Tech Tip says, have you ever thought of reviewing an Antec Landboy? I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. Been very disappointed with Antec cases and Antec products the last few years. They've just really gone downhill. So I don't really consider Antec anymore for anything. They're not what they used to be back in the 90s.
Got a handle on it.
Yeah, this Antec Landboy just looks like a pile of junk. Just looks like more of the same crap. I don't know what Antec's thinking.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't know who would have space for something like this, and it's just overly complicated and it doesn't look good. I don't see any practicality behind this whatsoever, and it's expensive. Antec continues to just, you know, maintain mediocrity at best, which is not what they used to be. Used to be great power supplies, good solid built cases. They used a lot of Antec back in the 90s. And then they just kind of lost their way. They just went with budget everything and just seemed to lose the understanding of what PC builders are looking for. You know, they seem to be really attracting budget buyers. And then they come up with this really bizarre stuff that would have a very small interested audience, you know, customer base for that kind of thing would be very small. Luke Slater contributes £1. Hey, Luke, thank you for that. Cheers. Bill Binder with £2 says cheers. Cheers, Bill. Thank you. David says, Carrie, did you see the video where the guy had a $22,000 repair bill, so he blew up the Tesla? I think everybody has seen the video, David. Yeah. It just needed a battery pack. And Rich Rebuilds did a battery pack repair on the same exact thing. It cost them $70. And they were talking about how, you know, Tesla could do this, but they won't. And that guy probably spent $22,000, $23,000 making that video. He had a helicopter. He had a safety shed built. He had multiple cameras at high-speed 4K recording from multiple angles. And the explosive, I would say he probably spent $50,000 making that video.
I don't know any idea, Chad, how many views he's got, whether it's even on YouTube or not. I would
What's
imagine
that?
is him blowing that up.
It's, what do you mean if it's on YouTube?
It is on YouTube.
It's all over.
Oh,
You can't
yeah,
get away from it.
yeah.
It's on all the news stations.
stations.
It's on Twitter. It's on YouTube. It's on all the car channels.
So he made enough to buy a new one. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this guy had a lot of money.
Okay,
I don't think
yeah.
he cared about
Right.
what he was making. He spent more to blow that car up than that car ever cost.
Right.
It was very professionally done. I mean, just the rent a helicopter,
Yep.
and then he probably had to get permits and safety inspections, and everything had to be done by professionals. He didn't
Yeah.
just wire up something himself.
Police standing by, fire people.
Tom says, will there be a graphics card installed? There already is a graphics card. It's integrated into the CPU. So I suppose if the person that wants to buy it wants to spend another $1,000 for a graphics card, we could probably put one in there. But most people, you're not going to generally buy a $50 case and put a $1,000 graphics card in it. But if they want to spend it, we can do it. Bob Connors with $10 says, here's my obligatory $7 late fee. Because YouTube takes 30%.
There you go.
He did the
Well,
math.
thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
What do you feel like eating?
I don't know. What do you think?
You haven't
Pizza, chicken?
So you haven't really had wings since the last time we had wings? That
Oh,
was
it's been a long
That's,
time.
that's been a couple of weeks ago that had wings. So
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah,
I haven't had wings in a long time.
So can I have 3 of them?
3 wings?
Yeah.
What am I, made of?
Money. Tesla money. Oh, you got a lot of Bitcoin.
You did a good job today.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 wings and a mozzarella stick.
Okay. That ought to sustain me for at least a week. All right.
You can take home what you don't eat. I guess there have been some contributions, and let me check the emails here since we're live and waiting. Paul McCartney had wings, says Ole Peterson. Luke wants to know my thoughts on something soon to be released. I have no thoughts on anything that isn't released. But CES is going on, and they always hype a bunch of stuff that may or may not come out. You know, I mean, all the hype around Intel Optane, I just don't get swept up in the marketing nonsense anymore. When there's a product that I can have in my hands and I can test it, I'll give you my opinion. Until then, I don't have one.
I would like to, hopefully next year, I've kind of never been to CES, and that's always been on my bucket list, but next year would be 2023 or 2024, if I'm still around, yeah.
Michael Eady sent me $1. He says, Kerry, I want to purchase one of your used Z97. They're not Z97s. They're H97Ms. And I don't sell parts because people are, you know, if they install them wrong or they aren't packed correctly, then they're going to email me and say, oh, what you sent me didn't work. You sent me something broken. I really don't want to deal with it. Michael Fogelstedt sent $5. He says, have some Gatorade on me. Hey, thank you. There's the Amazon gift card for Michael in Maryland for $25. Thank you, Michael in Maryland. I think I got everybody else. I don't know. I mean, for me to sell one of those boards, it's not like I want to build with them. I really don't. But I also hate the idea of creating a support issue where somebody's going to call with questions for something that I could have just thrown in the trash can, right? Or I could have built a system out of it, sold it cheaply to help somebody. So, you know, you'd have to twist my arm a little bit and convince me that, you know, we're not going to have those issues. That's just not how I run my business. If I sell something, I support it. I hate the idea of making an exception to that because I have a feeling I'm going to regret it. But, you know, twist my arm. John Tem contributes $20. He says, have a lunch discount on me. The video was well worth watching. Hey, you can have 4 wings now. Thanks, John Tem.
You got very good taste.
And then they want to know what would I sell this for? This would sell for the cost of parts, all right? So if you Google the price of the RAM, the motherboard was a $70 motherboard. The CPU is a $300 CPU. The cooler's cheap. It's like $20. The case was $50. The power supply is $28. The solid state drive is $50. It's a 512 gig.
You're gonna put Windows Pro on it.
Yeah, Windows Pro is $15. Using the link in my video notes, you can get Windows Pro for $15 using the coupon code CARRY.
And the shipping, you know,
Shipping's going to be, depending on where you live,
in the continental United
if you're on the
States.
East Coast, it's going to be over $100 to ship. If you're west of the Mississippi, it'd probably be around $70 or so to ship.
If you're in Tucson, I'll drive it there.
Yeah, well, there's that. Have I forgotten anything? Power supply, RAM, solid state drive, motherboard, cooler. So your biggest expense is the CPU. And I'd have to look at what I actually paid for that CPU. I don't think I paid $300 on that 8700. They were two something. Might have been 260, 270. I'd have to look at my invoice, but and then there's a 10% sales tax that I paid on top of everything because Phoenix is a high sales tax. So with all that in mind, you can
Add it up.
make me an offer and that I can't refuse. And then if I get Photo Ray to cable manage this, I have to pay Photo Ray to do that. He's not driving across town to sit and blister up his fingers for free. But this is probably a 2-hour cable management job, which is about $40. But I am motivated to get it out the door. So make me a deal. Make me an offer I can't say no to, and it's yours.
No financing.
Just look at that I/O shield in the back there.
Yeah.
I mean, not the I/O shield. Look at the back plate to the CPU. You can only see half of it. It's so stupid the way that they cut that out.
Yeah.
Magnus says, I bought the Noctua D15. What's your opinion on it? If you've tested it, it's too big and it's too heavy, it's overkill, it's a waste of money. I think people who buy Mercedes, people who buy products based on name, and they'll spend more for it, those are the same people that buy Noctua. You're way overpaying for Noctua products, in my opinion. I think you get a better deal from Scythe. You save a lot of money. I think you get a better product from Scythe. And they just don't have that name, you know? So it's like Sony. You pay a lot more money for a Sony product. I think you get a better product from Samsung or LG. But I wouldn't buy TCL or Haier or Hisense. Those are just bargain basement junk as far as I'm concerned. The monitor we're using here that's got me all upset is a Roku TV from TCL. I regret buying it. I think it was $300. I would have been better spending $600 and getting a smaller monitor from Samsung. You're probably not going to want my opinion on most things because as a professional technician, I'm very pragmatic. And I think a lot of people are very emotional. I have no emotion to these parts, none whatsoever, other than maybe anger out of bad design. Or priciness, because I know what it costs to make a Noctua fan. I know what it costs to make those coolers. And they are marked up much, much, much higher profit margin than any other cooler manufacturer. And I find that offensive. So you probably don't want to ask me my opinion if what you want to hear is positive. So if it was true that I really liked it, you'd be seeing it here on the channel a lot. Like the Corsair 200R. Corsair doesn't pay me. I just like that case. It's very practical. It's a good value. It's easy to work on. Lots of airflow. Easy cable management. And so you're going to see parts I like over and over and over on this channel. Not because I'm getting paid. Quite the opposite. It's because I'm selling them to customers and I want my customers to be happy. Unlike most YouTube content creators, I have a real job working on computers. I don't just make videos about them. Ron wants to know if we're going to do Prime 95. Actually, it's a good idea. Let's take a quick look over here. Let me plug it into the internet and let's grab some downloads. can take that Windows 10 flash drive out. Get that out of the way. Thank you, Mitch.
Where do you get these? I want to redo my whole Ethernet. I must have 20.
Oh, the thin Ethernet cables?
I must have more of these.
Amazon.
Do they come in various lengths and this and that? So
I've got some here. You can go through the box.
they're just so nice.
Yeah, they're really
they're unobtrusive and they're fast and
yeah, and those are carrying power over Ethernet, no problems.
yeah. And I just the standard thickness with 20 of them on my gigabit switches, it's just too much. And these are to be able to bundle these would be just a breeze. I must have.
I love them.
Yeah. Never even knew they were existed until you showed them to me, and I'm
I
like,
didn't know they existed.
and I was like, ooh, Mitchy like.
So this is one of those where it's not going to let me reduce the resolution because the video driver has to get replaced. So we're going to grab all the drivers before we run Prime 95.
Okay.
So we'll give that a few minutes to run. We'll go back over to camera 1.
Yeah. So there's no brand name on them that you know of or something like that? Maybe it is here on the side.
It's in the video that I made.
I'll find them. If you got them in the box, I'm sure it'll say something there.
Yeah, and on Amazon. There's a video I did on these cables.
Oh.
And the links are there
Okay.
in the video.
What'd you title it? Thin Ethernet cables?
Tom K says, give me $100 and I'll take that case off your hands.
The chip is 300. Michael Dane, $1 per.
Will he throw in a free kick in the nuts?
Yeah, $1 per foot.
Luke wants to know if I'd ever consider the 1200 KS, or do you think it's over the top? The 12900K I'm familiar with. What's the KS? I'm trying to remember what the S stands for. Oh, that's because it only came out yesterday.
Oh.
So that's going to be 5.5 gigahertz instead of what? Instead of 5? During CES, Intel revealed its latest 12th generation limited edition that can boost one of its cores up to 5.5. It's going to be so-called KS series. Its actual name is the Core i9 1200KS. During the announcement, Intel showcased a demo of a configuration running Hitman 3, and the CPU maintained a solid 5.2 clock speed on all 8 performance cores. Of course, just like the standard 12900, this is initially Intel will be available on OEMs only. So Intel likes to do this. They come out with these limited editions like the 9900KS, right? That clocked higher. If you're a fan of those collectible CPUs, it'll probably be a worthwhile investment. But good luck finding somebody who'll want to buy it later on when you want to sell it. Because price out a 9900 KS on eBay, and they're going for less than what they sold for. And that's, unless it's brand new and you never take it out of its case, then you could maybe get another $50 for it 3 years later. It's not a lot of money to be made in it. But if you like the idea of having a limited edition processor, like what we have here in the streamer is a 9900 KS, it's something a nerd would appreciate, but most people wouldn't give a rat's behind. Peter Rayner wants to know how the dogs are doing. Dogs are well. I just saw them the other day. Mark wants to know, are these fans all exhaust? Yes. Yeah. Anytime you see fans at the back or the top, those should universally, if they're installed correctly, always be exhaust fans. Intake fans should only be installed at the front. And intake fans are generally unnecessary because exhaust fans will create a vacuum that will draw the air into the case all by itself. Nature has a way of sorting that out. But if you wanted to cool a GPU down and you wanted some forced airflow over it, then I would consider putting a fan in that could do that. But it's completely unnecessary otherwise. And if it's a blower style GPU, you wouldn't have to worry about that anyway. Ron wants to know, when blowing out a PC with RGB fans with a leaf blower, do the fan lines kick on? No, of course not. Luke Greenius says, Carrie, just to let you know, the Musatex build is still problem-free and cruising along.
Nice.
KS stands for keep spending. That's what Catherine Hauserman said. I think that's probably right.
Right.
What's the airflow like? It's inconsequential. The computer will run without the fans. Intel CPUs are consumer electronics. They're not experimental research and development at MIT. You could turn every fan off on this case except the CPU fan. You wouldn't have any heat problems. The fans are strictly there for aesthetics, and a lot of people on the internet, which are enthusiasts who really don't understand consumer electronics, overblow the importance of fans. And if you do your own testing and unplug your fans, you can verify everything I'm telling you. They don't make much difference. The CPU fan does make a difference, but beyond that, and of course the power supply fan, but you know, exhaust fans, intake fans, they're purely optional.
How are we doing on updates?
Let's check on it.
Yeah, still got a few.
It's cranking away, huh?
Yeah.
What are these optional updates here? We'll grab all these while we're here.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a little.
Yeah.
Shouldn't take very long. Sean 10 says, I'm 80 years old and I like RGB.
Okay.
To each their own. Any way to speed up Windows update system? Nope. Paul thinks Windows installed in legacy mode. It may have, it may not be in UEFI. I usually check that.
But you have to go into BIOS?
No, I can check to see what mode it's in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're waiting anyway, so it doesn't affect the time we're spending. BIOS is in UEFI mode.
Right there.
UEFI. False alert. Good to check, though. That is a big update. Rick says, any thoughts on a CPU for programmers? It depends what you're programming. A programmer would know which CPU they need better than I would. Programmers don't universally all program in the same language or with the same complexity of what they're programming. Michael in Maryland presents a link about Ethernet cable video that I posted.
Okay.
So that's got the links in it.
Okay. Thin Ethernet cable. Okay.
Is this build for someone? Mark Jackson wants to know. Whoever wants to buy it. Any suckers? We got any any well-refined individuals who see the value of the quality of a hot dog? Hey, you know what this is? This is a gourmet hot dog. This is what this is. What is a gourmet hot dog? Well, we take all the extra bits we didn't want to use at the gourmet kitchen, and we make a gourmet hot dog out of them. These are fancier throwaway bits.
Low mileage, no drivers. Or we're installing drivers.
Ah,
Yeah.
see what you did there.
Yeah.
Regarding the non-modular PSU, could one simply cut off the unwanted cables for a cleaner install? Well, it'd be a crazy foolish thing to do because there'd be no way to put them back. And you'd have to make sure that you, of course, did that without it being plugged in. You'd have to cut the ends in a way that they don't short circuit each other.
They don't touch, so
Yeah.
you'd have to
I
electrical.
suppose you
tape
could
the
open
ends.
the power supply up and desolder the cables off the circuit board itself.
But for $28.
It's a $28. Yeah, you can buy a modular power supply for $40. You wouldn't have to go through any of that time and effort, and you wouldn't have to worry about what happens when you want to make a change, or what happens when the power supply dies. You need to replace it. You're going to do this whole thing again. So just what you could do and what you should do, and that's real hacky. That's janky. I wouldn't respect anybody who did that. I would just think you don't know what you're doing, or you're so cheap that you value $1 more than you value an hour of your time. And the thing is when you're on your deathbed and death is near, and I said to you, I could give you another hour on the planet, what would you give me for that? I imagine you'd give me everything you've got because you're just about to lose it all. My question is, why is that 1 hour worth more to you than the hour you have now? So I wouldn't waste my time on something like that. It's dangerous and foolish. But could you do it? I suppose you could. I will buy it if you can prove that RGB gives plus 15 frames per second. Well, there's definitely 15 frames per second of the RGB. David Herzog says, great show as always. Hey, thank you, David. Daco said if every viewer bought a $1 ticket, you could pick a winner. $463. Well, that'll cover the CPU, the RAM, the solids. Yeah, I guess that's probably about the price. Unfortunately, that'd be considered a raffle, and there are laws that raffles have to be for charities, and they have to be registered, and then there has to be taxes paid on it, and then the winner has to live in an area where they're allowed to win the raffle. They have to be over 18 years old, and if they're in an area where the city or state doesn't allow that, they consider it gambling, then I can be fined. I mean, there's a lot of legalities to giveaways. You've got to be very, very careful with contests versus gambling. There's a very fine line. So with the giveaways, generally I'm okay, as long as the winner is at least 18 years old, and the giveaways are valued under $600. As soon as you exceed a value of $600, the government, the IRS in particular, is very interested. And then, of course, if you have somebody who wins without their parental consent and they're under 18, then the parents could legally pursue action against you. So a lot of channels who do giveaways are not aware of the legal complexities, and once they find out, they won't do them again.
And you think you've got the latest BIOS on this?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I updated it the last time I had it out on the bench, which wasn't that long ago, but any BIOS update now probably isn't going to do much other than compatibility for other sorry, this is Intel. Yeah, there probably isn't going to be a BIOS update for Intel. We could check it, but I'd rather focus on the Prime 95, making sure we get all these updates first. And it looks like, well, that one's just really hanging up there, isn't it? It's feeling slow today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that shouldn't be taking that long. I'm going to restart it. See what it does.
Which you can do mid update, and it won't harm anything.
No, well, that's why it's kind of going to cycle here until it's finished doing whatever it's doing. And then when it reboots, we'll go back to Windows Update again and give it another shot.
Seemed a little sluggish.
Yeah, seemed like it was hung up on something. Steve says, thank you for a fun and informative video as always. Hey, you're welcome, Steve. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Our pain is your pleasure.
That's right. Yeah, Mitch has nailed it.
Yeah. glad to be of service.
What you'll do for some wings.
Yeah. 3.5. All right.
Hey, I think it's rebooting. So far, so good. Oh, that's much faster.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll let that run and check back on it here in a minute. Oh, look at it go. Much better.
Yeah, it just got hung up.
I know it says we can restart now, but it's still downloading and installing, and it's gonna still need to do that if we restart. So you might as well just let it do it now.
And if you haven't, you better hit that like button. Remember that.
What does that button look like?
I don't know.
Oh, that.
Oh,
right on your
that.
face.
Oh.
What about the subscribe button? You're way off.
All right.
Smack Mitch in the face.
Okay.
Here he goes. Planet Cryos with a $25 contribution. He said, I'm late to the party. Well, you missed it. You missed all the fun. Don't worry, you can edit it later.
And cut out all the bits.
Yeah, and then it'll be a 6-minute video. Still going. These are like the Energizer updates. Energizer Bunny updates. Still going. This cumulative update is going to take a while, isn't it? It's at 30%. Well, it's also grabbing the display driver, which I can't get this out of 4K mode until it does that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just patience. Got to wait for it. What CPU do we have in the PC? It's an i7-8700.
About $300, you said, right?
Currently on Amazon, it's about $300, a little more. These two updates here are the two painful ones. This cumulative and this Intel display driver. This is over 500 megs. These are all ready to go. They're pending restart. So this Intel software component will be easy. This intelligent update should be much faster, but I think it's being held up because it's downloading all of these at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's at 94 now, 95.
Yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
there. We're getting there. 99, 100. Now that gets to install, that should be quick. And then whatever bandwidth that was consuming can go back to, you know, focusing on these remaining updates. So that should just start
Moving now.
like a snowball. Yeah, it should start gaining momentum here as we get to the end. I mean, we're at 95% on the display driver. And then once that one finished installs, then 100% of the download will be dedicated to this cumulative driver to finish that up while this is installing. And then after the reboot, I should then be able to drop the resolution to 1080. Oh, good, a download error. Great.
Wait.
That means it was probably downloading in the background. That's the other thing. It may have been downloading other things besides what it was showing you, since the Windows update will happen in the background, whether you manually go there or not.
And I always get nervous when I see that download error, like I've broken something or something like that.
No, because what'll happen is if it was downloading in the background, the next time you go to Windows Update, it won't offer it to you if it already grabbed it in the background. If, on the other hand, the download did in fact fail and nothing was happening in the background, then it'll just keep offering it to you again and again until it's resolved. We used to see those problems a lot more with Windows XP and Windows 7. It's pretty uncommon. It still happens sometimes where you just get a stubborn update that keeps downloading and then failing the install. Every once in a while you'll still run into that. But if it doesn't want to reinstall after an error, that means it already installed in the background, and that's why you got the error. You can't install it twice at the same time. And furthermore, after it's installed, you wouldn't need to install it again. You already have it. So we're on this last one here, this cumulative update. This does take a few minutes to install, so we'll switch back over to camera 1 here for a minute. See the screen blank out like that? That's usually a video driver. So that happened in the background.
I gotcha.
That's why that blanked out. That still says downloading, but let's go ahead and restart it now since I got the video driver in there.
Somebody in chat said Patch Tuesday is coming up. I've never heard of that. What's
Yeah,
that?
Patch Tuesday is the second Tuesday of the month. Every second
okay.
Tuesday of the month, Microsoft releases their updates to the Windows operating system. Unless there's a critical fix, in which case Microsoft will release an update as soon as possible, which is called an out-of-band update, meaning it's happening on literally any other day but the second Tuesday of the month.
So is that this coming Tuesday? Yeah.
I think so. That'll be the second Tuesday of the month, right? It's only January 7th, so how many Tuesdays could we have had?
One. Uno pizza. Yeah, no.
Now I should be able to change the resolution with the display driver in. Yeah.
Yep.
So we want 1920 by 1080. Where is it? Ah, so much better. I can see. I like how that just picked up right where it left off. That's nice.
Yep.
Little worrisome. So that's the background stuff I'm talking about. So it was going to do that whether I clicked on update or not. So if you just let the computer idle, walk away for a while, go have dinner, come back, you'll probably get all your updates anyway. I gotta say, that power supply for $27.99 from Ares game, good deal.
A bargain.
Well, we'll see how it holds up over time, but a 3-year warranty on it. So just have an RMA if you have to replace it, but
500 watt, bronze.
$27.99, how can you beat that? Do you know what it would cost me to ship that power supply to somebody in the United States? For the box, the packing, and the shipping, FedEx ground? About $20. On Amazon, it's free shipping, so I don't know how that works, but I'm glad it does. All right, I'm going to just let that sit here for a minute, and we'll go back over to camera 1. Is there any other questions we can answer? I guess we can put the utilities on here for Prime 95.
And Uncle Carrie's optimizer.
Yeah, we could throw that on here. Only takes a minute. So much for ending early today, huh? Because 20 minutes of Prime 95, we're going to end at 5 like we always do. Here, I thought we were getting out early.
Just my luck.
I'm hungry, too.
Yeah. I'm a bit peckish, yeah.
Well, thinking about wings.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah. All 3.5. All right.
Throw VLC on here.
It's a must.
Those access denieds are normal. That's just
Yeah.
turning indexing off of files in use. It can't do that when a file's in use. But regardless, it'll end up with indexing off, and then we'll wait for this cumulative update to finish. And then when it reboots, we should be able to run Prime 95 and run our temps. So we should be ending right at 5 o'clock today, which is 28 minutes from now, according to the show clock.
This update always hangs at 74%, right? Kind of hangs there
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Mhm. Does your computer operator have a PC? Several. How many PCs do you have, Mitch? Everybody who knows me has like 3+ PCs.
4 desktops and a laptop and what's that one on a stick that you gave me that I really like?
Oh, the Azul?
Yeah.
And you have the iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody that knows me is flush with computers.
Keyword there is flush. All right. Yeah, 4 desktops is more than enough. Here we go.
This will make it faster.
Yeah, okay.
Don't lock the green.
No, do the red one that I like. Yeah, not that one.
Can you even push that button with your sausage fingers?
Finesse.
Come on, try it.
Finesse. Like I said, finesse. No, you need a long hangnail. All right. Yeah, terrible.
Maybe just use it.
A doodad, yeah. Don't like it. No.
Is that the one you like?
No, the red ones that go no.
That is the red one going dit.
Oh, is it?
It's just red.
Okay.
You know, with the studio lights on, you can't really see
Yeah.
the colors very well. But that's the dit.
That's the, yeah, there it is. Yeah, now I can see it. Yeah. Very nice.
All right, let's check on how our update's doing.
Nice t-shirt, Mitch. Thank you. 1 of 44.
What are the advantages of the optimizer? There's a video. If you just search on my channel, I go through the optimizer. Does the Windows 10 optimizer work on Windows 11? What do you think? Wouldn't it be called a Windows 10 and 11 optimizer?
Negatory.
No, it's not designed for Windows 11. I've never tested it, but it's strictly for Windows 10.
Mitch, do you use all the computers? On occasion, yeah. I've got, one in every room, so that's always nice. What's the thing that I can turn on where they can all share, or where I can move one file over to that machine, or that it's a sharing
A network?
Yeah, sharing on a network. Is that?
It's networking, Mitch.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
With your computers, where they can all see each other or something like that.
Networking.
Networking. All right.
Yeah. File sharing and networking.
Yeah, file sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now we're moving along on this cumulative. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. It's like it knows we're going to end at 5. Like it's going to make sure, because 20 minutes of Prime 95 after reboot is going to push us right there with the, saying goodbyes and rolling the titles. It might even push us a little past 5. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Thank you very much for the
Thank you very much.
for the person that suggested that. We were just about ending.
Yeah, could be eating right now.
Yeah, and somebody, hey, here's an idea.
Well, I did say I
I
wanted to test this cooler.
Yeah.
But I think the 8700 is a pretty cool chip, so I don't think there's going to be a problem. But I could be wrong. It's happened before, several million times.
It ought to get mighty loud when you hammer it.
No, because the fans run full speed at all time. I mean, the CPU fan doesn't, but all the other fans are full speed all time. So I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the CPU fan's gonna be any louder than the case fans. So we'll find out here in a minute, though. If it boots to the desktop, it's still loading some updates or something. It's giving us a black screen for some reason, which should come back.
You broke it because that one file that was download error. See, you broke it. I was right.
Yeah, you could be right. Oh,
Nope, there you go.
it's just in the BIOS. The BIOS was processing, and it's going to reboot again. Oh, goody! That's that big cumulative update. That's what that is. Phew, that was a lot of updates. Okay, well, let's go ahead and run, let's see here, HW monitor. We'll start that and see what our temps are just idling here. Any minute now. Oh, it's nice 36 degrees. It did hit 50 centigrade though. That's kind of warm for just starting. I guess I can pull the flash drive out of here. We don't need this left in here. Prime 95. And okay, you see there's 12 threads, 6 cores, 12 threads.
Okay.
We're gonna slam those at 100% usage. We'll close this window behind it. Bring this window up so we can keep an eye on these temperatures here. And we're already, it's already baking. So we like this to be at 85 or below
Celsius.
after 20 minutes. And boy, I think that this cooler is,
We're already at 76.
yeah, and I just started the timer. I think I'm going to be stopping this test here pretty soon. It's not any louder.
No. No.
But it's a pretty limited cooler. And it doesn't hurt the processor for it to get hotter than 85. See, it's already hit 86. We can go to 100 before it starts to throttle.
Yeah.
So we're just a minute into this test and it's already, the temperature it's currently running is here on the left, okay? And then the temperature that hits the maximum is here on the right. So I'm looking at these temps on the right
Yeah.
and comparing it to where we are here on the left, because just because it hit that momentarily, I'm not worried. I'd prefer that it didn't, but this is a build mostly for looks. It's unlikely anybody would push the system this hard, or at least for any period of time, like what we're doing now. So I'm gonna just let it run until I see, I don't know, 95. It's certainly not the best cooler money can buy as far as cooling goes, but as for looks and value for what you get for the money, it's very inexpensive.
like
for
you
$20
like you
cooler.
really said, who's going to hammer it?
There's 90.
Who's going to hammer it like this?
That's only after a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I mean, it's only going to get hotter from here.
wings.
I'm gonna wait for 95. I don't think it's gonna be much longer.
Longer, yeah.
Yeah.
And shut her down.
So that's 195 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whew.
You can hear that fan. It's angry. Still okay. I mean, we're not in the danger zone yet. Getting close. Feel any heat coming off of it? Probably not. Oh, there's 95. All right, I've had enough of this. Well, that was fun.
For 2 minutes?
But a lot of machines you buy, pre-builds at Best Buy and stuff, they wouldn't survive this test either.
Watch these temps go down. Literally, it jumped from 90 to 53.
And the fan quieted down
Down,
too. So that CPU fan did get kind of noisy. So yeah, you got 3 minutes out of it.
Okay.
But that's just the way it's going to be. It's just not meant for that.
Okay.
It's like that little Azul computer you've got. That little Azul, we can bake that thing in probably 90 seconds as well. It's just not designed for that kind of work. But that's good to know. It's all about the look. It's not about performance. So there you have it. If somebody buying this wants me to swap that out with a Mugen, I think it'll fit in there. It's just not going to look good at all. That looks way better.
Yeah.
And it seems highly unlikely anybody would push it that hard. This isn't the right computer if that's the kind of person you are.
Yep.
But for regular everyday use, surfing the web, answering emails, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, just all the stuff your average user uses it for, you
YouTube
never
video.
have a heat problem with it.
YouTube videos
Yeah,
watching
YouTube
us.
stuff. People exchange, generally speaking, aesthetics for performance. And if you want both the aesthetics and performance, then you generally are going to open up the wallet a lot wider. So to maintain a budget machine, you just can't expect it to have check all the boxes and at the same time, be like a $500 or $600 computer. It's just not going to happen. It's just not possible. So this is a trade-off. Not that the cooler couldn't be replaced, but in doing so, it's just not going to look good. There's no room for a liquid cooler in here, so you're just going to go with an air cooler and that's it. Or you can stick a stock Intel fan on there, which is ugly, but it'll snap right on. So, and of course there's other cooler options to consider that are air coolers that'll be RGB. It's not like that's the only one, but that one for $20, there's a lot to choose from, $20. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. So we are going to end a little early after all, which is good because I'm really hungry.
Wingies.
Let's shut this thing
That
down
down.
over here. Let's see. We'll close this. Yeah, I knew we were in trouble when I saw that idle temp at 50. I was like, yeah, it's about 15 too high. People make a bigger deal out of heat than what heat really is. So unless you're having problems with the computer, heat isn't a problem just because you're looking at numbers. The numbers themselves aren't the problem. It's the human being's reaction to it. So if the computer's blue screening or shutting down, that's a problem. But if the computer is running, those numbers don't mean anything. They're just poisoning your mind with anxiety, and you're spending money you don't need to spend to fix a problem you don't have. When the computer is not behaving in a way that it should, it's not operating or responding correctly, then we would hunt down what the problem is. It could be we don't have enough thermal compound down there. What was on there pre-applied wasn't very much. I don't think it's going to make a big difference worth doing. It's a trade-off, I do believe, for the looks. So it's a hot dog. What do you want? I want a hot dog, and I want it to be healthy, and I want it to be cheap. Hot dog.
Yep.
Point made, yeah?
Yep.
Wait, this one goes over there. That one goes over, wait, this one goes over here. That, and that, and that can go over there. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found today's video educational. I hope you consider these things when you're buying parts to build your own system. Don't just look for the cheapest or the prettiest. Pay attention to overall quality, value, and look at the reviews, see what people are saying about building in it. I didn't see any reviews on this, so I guess I'll have to write one later.
Okay.
For everybody who's contributed today, thank you so much for all of your support. Peter Laycock, John, Jack Wilson from the last broadcast. All the contributions, the gift cards that came in today, thank you guys again for continuing to support the channel. And, it's because of your contributions that I just did this to myself. Why am I thanking them?
And thanks so
I
much.
wish I didn't have the money to buy this.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We know when it comes to YouTube, you've got an enormous choice of videos, so we appreciate you spending a little of your Friday with us. Thank you.
Did you
so
just
much.
fly an airline or anything?
No.
We know you have your choice of airlines.
Yeah.
We bought the cheapest ticket. Shut up. I'm not a
I
fan.
wish I was high right now. All right.
Aren't you?
No.
This is you normal?
Yeah.
Wow. I bet you're a party. Wait for that oxygen mask to drop down.
Yeah.
So I'll be back I think I'll be back Monday with some more videos for you guys. I still have a ton of content to get through, and I have that new HDMI wireless thing to check out too. The company's been.
Yep.
And then I'm going to show in Office 2019 how to download it, install it without a Microsoft account. That'll be next week. I'll try and do that Monday if I can. And then I have just a whole ton of content. I've got to get the big beast built done. I've got to do the research on that RGB part I need. And I think I might get Doug Betts down here to join me and maybe join us together
Okay.
and put him to work. If you haven't checked out Doug Betts' channel, Doug Betts Live Windows Training, he does a lot of live, unscripted computer repair. He's been in the business, like me, for over 30 years, and still has customers, like me. A lot of similarities between us.
And Big Beast is going to Doug.
Yeah, he's going to drive out from Fresno and load it in his car. It's too big to ship it, and he's got a lot of videos he needs to edit, and he really wants to edit them on Big Beast, so he's anxious for it.
Okay.
So we'll have a video or two we'll do together, and we'll put them to work. And since you can't really lift it, we'll make Doug lift it.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys. Rick Hubbard, thank you. Zdravko, thank you. Bob Connors, John Lewis, Dacco, thank you guys so much again. I would shout each and every one of you out. Luke Greenia, but. We will see you again, and I'm sorry if I didn't shout you out, Monty Oel. I just wanted to see if there was any contributions I missed, because I definitely like to make sure that they at least get a shout out at the time. I think I caught them all. If not, you can let me know next time we're live. All right, on behalf of Mitch Morrison and myself, thank you guys for watching. We will see you all again very, very soon.
And the camera operator.
Camera operator. I didn't even know the camera was sick.
Oh,
I didn't know
okay.
it needed
Our,
operator.
Thank y'all.
our camera
Y'all.
operator, y'all.
You're
Yeah,
from the
Texas,
south.
a little south there.
All right, we'll see y'all soon. Let's go have dinner.
Okay.
All right.
Bye for now.